and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Now is the perfect time for Hello Garage to turn your dream garage into a reality. Book a Hello Garage floor coating or storage installation by Labor Day, and you'll save 50% on labor. That's right, save 50% on labor before Labor Day. At Hello Garage, we've created clean, organized spaces for thousands of happy homeowners, and we can do it for you, too. Visit HelloGarage.com today to lock in your savings. That's HelloGarage.com.
Hello Garage.
Hey folks, is your concrete in need of repair? Kent Pavelka here to talk about your local concrete experts and a Best of Omaha winner, Everlevel Concrete Repair. They can completely restore and repair your concrete at a fraction of the price compared to replacement and offer long-term transferable warranties. I'm so glad I chose Everlevel for my driveway. There's a reason they're a Best of Omaha winner. Give them a call for your free inspection. That's Everlevel, Everlevel, Everlevel. Try saying that 3 times fast.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching a kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, taillights, trunk lids, license plate holders, 122 million parts. Pull up just a little bit. And headlights. They've got lots of headlights. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone.
A crossover is crossover dribble.
For the
crossover.
Kyrie Irving, crossover in the lane.
One of the most famous crossovers of all time.
Behind the back, an ankle breaker on Chris Paul.
Crossover. Double crossover. The crossover continues to evolve.
It's Friday crossover powered by Everlever. Gosh, that is, why do I?
It's a little bit of a tongue
If
twister.
you go fast, it is.
Yeah.
Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. I keep wanting to say Everlever. And maybe there is an Everlever, but this is Everlevel Concrete. So, yeah, we're already off to a rip-roaring start there. Has it happened to you yet, Josh?
Have I ever said Everlevel?
Yeah. Or have you said Everlever?
Everlever? No, but I have kind of approached the word and said, "Ooh, I need to slow down."
Slow down, my friend. It's going to come across wrong.
It'll get you.
Yep, it does. It does. So this is it's been kind of a ghost town in here because of the
little bit,
not just physically the presence, but just the overall the spirit of Gary and Connor as well. It's never the same. But you've had to process a lot of what's been going on at Big Ten Media Days, and now it's a Friday, and then you get into the weekend. So you made it, man. We're good.
Oh yeah, it's all downhill from here.
It is. Now it's a Friday. Get to enjoy it. We got I think our friends from Muchachos bringing in lunch today, and I think they're particularly bringing it in for you because you worked so damn hard this week.
Well, many are saying that I'm the hardest worker in the room.
Yeah. Hey, you'll get my vote.
Okay.
You'll get my vote. Like between what you do with the graphic design as well as, the production side and co-hosting and, being right there with Connor every step of the way. Heck yeah.
I mean, in this business, you gotta be multifaceted.
Is this okay? So I know we got practice starting this week, but is this still considered like a week where it's just going to be a slog, where we're trying to get to actual substance of the football season? Because we got preseason camps that are opening everywhere now.
Hall of Fame game is in 6 days.
Exactly.
Like that.
And then you've got for Nebraska, you got Fan Day on Sunday, camp opening up as well. I believe, wouldn't Notre Dame and Navy have already opened fall camp because they're playing in the Aer Lingus Classic this year? And all those week 0 teams, I would assume, have started fall camp probably at the very least as early as yesterday, maybe even earlier.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. We've got stuff happening. Football's going on, but I'm always in the mindset of anything that comes out of camp right now, like any news is bad news.
Yes.
Because it's probably injuries.
Joe Burrow.
Yes, Joe Burrow.
It is day 3 of Notre Dame camp today.
Day 3. Okay, see, there you go. So we're already off and running.
But yeah, Joe Burrow, well, that was scary.
He was wearing a calf sleeve too.
Yeah, I saw a tweet from a beat reporter for the Bengals that I follow, and this was hours before the injury, and the video came out. It said Joe Burrow is wearing a compression sleeve on his calf. He was not wearing this yesterday.
Yeah.
And I said, oh my gosh, you guys are just nothing to report, so you got to report something. I get it.
And then something came out, and then, boy, didn't you look like a fool.
I looked stupid, didn't I? Yep.
Kind of insensitive as well.
Yeah, she knew what she was talking about.
Yeah, that's kind of mean. And what I took away from that, I was watching the Zach Taylor post-practice comments. Okay, now let me go back for a second. I'm not so much into the NFL. I love the NFL, but I'm not so much into it that I watch every team's post-camp press conferences. These were highlights that were readily available. Okay, so now I'll continue. It's clearly it's hot in Cincinnati because Zach Taylor, not because of the thought of losing his franchise quarterback for an extended period of time, but he was sweating profusely because I believe it was probably what it's like here. He looked very uncomfortable. He looked like he was sweating very, very bad. And so that's the one thing I took away from him more than anything is it's extremely hot out there. And I would not want to be playing the sport of football outside right now.
Excessive heat warning in Cincinnati.
Oh, see, yep, there it is.
Looking at a high of 95 today.
Oh, come on, hold our beer. We're going to get up to I think we're getting up triple digits again today, aren't we?
We're going to flirt with it.
Yep. We did briefly mention this before we came on the crossover because I think it's been very popular the last 3 days of coworkers and people using the old, is it hot enough for you? I think you are now at the point where we've had enough of the hot weather that if someone does throw that at you again today, you are okay to verbally abuse them back.
Okay. So we've hit that amount of extended time where
it's no longer new. It's not the first day. It's not hey, hot enough for you. Now it's like, well, you just said it to me 2 days ago. So then you can, I don't condone physical or mental abuse, but I feel like you can do something to throw it right back at that guy and say, at the very least, like, come on, man, you just said that to me. Do you really have nothing else to say to me? Is that where we are in our small talk relationship, that we're just going to continue to discuss the obvious weather pattern that exists?
Oh, people love talking about the weather when they got nothing else to say.
It's true. It is absolutely true.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Because the weather, the default.
That's a good question. Like, why can't you ask about the family? Mm-hmm. Is that too personal?
Okay.
I mean, even if it's just like because you want to give off the vibe that you care. Like, what does talking about the weather really do? Because we all know, I think anymore that, oh, you really have nothing to say to me. You have no.
Oh, it's a dead giveaway.
Right. We have no connection or relationship that we can't go into other elements of our relationship, that it has to be start and end with the weather. That's where our relationship is. In fact, I think that is a good gauge of where your relationship is with whomever you converse with that brings up the weather. Like, does your coworker like you? Well, did he ask you about the weather or talk to you about the weather? He probably doesn't, or at least doesn't care to know you.
Yeah, it's a huge giveaway. And I sort of understand the theory of Well, we all experience the weather, so that's a nice common ground. It's not politics. It's not religion. There's lots of stuff we all do.
Yeah, exactly.
We all eat.
Yeah. How was dinner last night?
How was traffic on the way in?
Yeah.
Like, I would appreciate that more than
I would too.
Conversation about the weather.
Yeah, because I feel like everybody's, especially if you're going to work at the same time, we're all coming from different sections or areas of the city. What you might have experienced could have been different from mine. Maybe you saw an accident. Maybe you saw something on the interstate that caught your attention that I might enjoy as a story, as opposed to you pointing out the obvious of it being hot outside or raining cats and dogs.
It also doesn't set me up for anything talking about the
Right.
weather. Like, what I don't have a take afterwards or a
Right.
story about the weather.
There's facts, and facts are
Yeah.
anything over, 85 degrees is hot. Anything over 95 is uncomfortably hot.
Hot enough for you out there? Yeah, it is.
It is.
It is.
The
hottest the planet's ever been.
I would prefer it to be maybe 10 degrees cooler, but that's just me. Do you want to talk about anything else, or should we now go our separate ways? You know what? That would be a great response right there. Somebody today,
call them out.
It's early enough. Yes. Say, actually, it is hot enough for me. Clearly, it's hot outside. Is this where our conversation ends? Can I go back to work? And then you'll get the whoa reaction. You'll get the, I thought I was being like polite.
I didn't even do
engaging.
anything, and Nick came out of nowhere.
Right.
And called me an idiot.
I'm just calling you out for your lack of substance when it comes to quality conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Just bring me something with substance. If you want to go weather, give me a fun little anecdote that comes with it being hot out today. And I don't want to hear about an egg on the concrete. Like, give me something of personal interest. Like, you know what? Last time it was this hot out, this happened to me, or this happened to my family.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're getting personal here. Then there's a connection.
We don't need much.
No. Just be better.
I can find the kernel to get to something interesting.
Right.
Most of the time.
Just be better than that. Be better than that. So I think on this day, now that we've had the third day of, warmer weather, you can go ahead and call people out for having that lazy attempt at conversation. That's when you just say, you know what, if you didn't want to talk to me, don't even bring up the weather.
You didn't have to say it.
Yeah, we could have just crossed paths. I go to my spot, you go to your spot, and we do our work. We ain't got to be friends. Yeah. We ain't got to be cordial.
Or we could just be friends that enjoy the silence together.
Right.
That's completely fine. If you know me, like actually know Josh Odson, I'm okay with silence.
You have how many kids?
One.
And he is how old?
4.
Oh, okay. So you don't get a lot of silence at home.
I do not. I don't.
Did you get the whole, because as I've learned as a newer-ish parent, that a lot of people's experiences, they will pass on to you and say, this is what you should expect, which I always appreciate somebody saying, well, this is what we experienced. Yours could be completely different, but this is what we experienced. Mm-hmm. But did you get a lot of people saying when they got to 2, good luck with that, the terrible 2s?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That was about as annoying as the weather. It's like, you know what? Just because your kid was a little helly in a 2 doesn't mean it's going to be mine. Now, to anybody that has ever said that, yeah, it's happened. He's gotten to an age where now he's got a little attitude, likes to reject a lot of our requests. But, isn't that just growing up? Isn't that just being like a bratty kid? I mean, everyone's going to be a brat.
And a lot of parents will tell you, myself included, 3 is worse than 2.
Oh, and we're getting close to 3.
Okay.
Because he'll be 3 in October. And he's trending in that direction.
Every child's different, but 3 was a lot mouthier than 2.
Okay. And I could see that because it really had 2. And I remember even saying this to my wife. I'm like, kid's an angel. He's funny. He seems to really like us. He seems to, as much as a 2-year-old can listen, he seems to, for the most part, oblige by the things that we ask of him. Oh, not lately. Not lately. And it's funny you say that because now we're inching ever so closer to 3.
Maybe that back half of 2, first half of 3.
Yeah. Where the hell were you on that one? You people talking about the terrible 2s?
levels out.
Yep.
Levels
Apparently
out
it does.
around 4.
Yeah, the silence part of it is so this is where even with my work schedule, so I'll come home and my wife works from home as well, but she does her thing. I try to stay out of the picture because she's working. I might get a nap in, then I'll go down. I try to do a little show prep before he gets home because once he gets home, a lot of it's all about him.
Yeah.
But
very selfish behavior.
Well, and speaking of selfish though, I always feel like, you know what, should I get him from daycare early today? Like, you know what, I've got everything done that I need to. Should I go ahead and get my son from daycare like at 3? No. Like, no, I want these 2 extra hours of not having to deal with that.
Couple of things there. It's a great thought, great sentiment.
Yeah.
But your peace and mental health is important. You're paying them a crap ton of money.
That is true too. That's where I kind of started. Is it bad that I justified more that way as opposed to, yeah, this is good for me? It's like, you know what? We're invested into this thing. We are going to milk every last minute out of what we're paying right now.
Yep. Absolutely. No problem with that at all.
No. Yeah.
I think about that a lot, actually. We're one of the first people there, one of the last to leave.
Yep. Like, okay, as soon as you guys are open. All right. When's the very last opportunity for pickup? Okay, we'll be there 5 minutes before that.
You close at 6? Okay, I'll be there at 5:55.
Yeah, just make sure someone's still there.
I'll be in the parking lot at 5:45, but I'm not coming in that early.
Yeah, don't call me and say, hey, just letting you know we're closing early. Don't worry, I'm aware of that.
I'll be there.
I'll be there at the 11th hour. You just know that, okay? Because this is what we pay.
My child is the Peyton Manning of the daycare facility.
He is. Oh, isn't that great though? So he's already developing that type of work ethic. And I don't know what type of career you've got mapped out, because I'm sure you do. You've got a career mapped out for your son at 4 years old, because who doesn't, right? That's what we all do. He's already learning the mentality that is going to make him thrive. And that is first to arrive, last one to leave. And he's going to wonder, like when he gets to 14 or 15 years old and he's doing that and the coaches are praising him for it and he's that infectious teammate, everybody wants to be around him. And he's going to wonder where that came from. And it's actually going to stem from mom and dad wanting to get the most out of their investment into daycare, wanting to make sure that what we were spending money on daycare was going to get you there as early as possible and get you out as late as possible so we didn't have to deal with you for that amount of time. Yeah, it's like, that's perfect. And it's only going to lead to good habits. See, as you're trying to think about the financial part of it, you're already creating great habits, though, with him.
Well, you're also teaching sound investment strategy.
That's true.
ROI.
That is true.
Mm-hmm. These are financial terms that I've heard before.
Yep. See, look at that. I don't think that's selfish at all on the parents' part.
No.
And they don't realize it now, but this is all going to rub off on them in a very positive way. That is good parenting right there. There should be an award named after you.
Oh, wow. Well, I want to thank God.
I remember my wife. So my wife, by the way, this is actually kind of cool. The job that she works, they call their summer Fridays. So they get off work at 1 on Fridays. So they have they have a 4.5 day work week.
NRG, take notes.
I know, right? I think we could all be more productive. Mm-hmm. You know, there's something to be said about giving your employees a little more of a weekend.
Trust me, I would bust my butt to get out of here at 1 o'clock.
I would pay the DM, man, the crap out of that. I would seize the frickin' day. But there's times that she's like, oh, you know what? She's done. She signed off or whatever, 1:30, 2 o'clock. And she's like, oh, should we go get Reese? I'm like, no. Why don't you and I go? You know what? There's this thing called happy hour.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go have one of those. Well, it's not like we're boozing it up before we pick up our son. I don't make it sound like we're those parents. But it's like, whoa, why do we got to make this about him? And kind of to your point, we're paying for him to be there another couple hours. It's like paying the babysitter. You're going to go home. You paid the babysitter already. You're going to go home early? No, unless there's a problem.
Little day date?
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You can date your significant other when the sun is out.
Agreed. They're actually more fun that way. Yeah. Not like as your date, but like the dates themselves are more fun.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You have more opportunities to do things, but
ice cream, maybe a little app.
You could get a nap, especially if you get done early enough and you push that pickup time as back as far as you can.
You get off work at 1, daycare closes at 6. That's like,
yeah.
Well, I mean, just to be safe, let's call it like 4.5 hours of.
That's like a real full-fledged date right there.
Yeah.
I've had dates that have gone much quicker than that.
She's going to go, oh my gosh, she really put in the time to make this afternoon special.
Yes. See, it's all about making sure you keep that flame lit, right?
It's not just sports advice here at 1620 The Zone. It's also marital advice.
I feel like we are. I feel like we're giving people out there pearls right now. This is what we need to do on a Friday.
Don't use it today. You don't have to. Don't use it today.
Yeah,
Just
then it's going to seem.
save it for later.
It's not going to seem authentic. Use it down the road.
Yep.
Well, really, I'm not even going to tell you what to do. Do with it what you will. But I feel like this is a positive. I feel like on a Friday where we heard a lot of different things yesterday at Big Ten Media Days. Last couple days, really. And, there's, I think, always going to be some strong messages. If we could give you a message today, this would be the message. Love your kid, but let daycare take care of them as long as possible if you're paying for it.
They're specifically trained
Yes, they
to
are.
do that. You're not.
See, and
You
I don't
got
know.
drunk in the back seat of a Ford Fairlane.
I don't know what your daycare setup is like, but I walk in there, though. I have no idea what they make. It's not enough. I mean, it stresses me out.
Oh,
the herding of the cats and the different smells and noises that are taking place, and God bless them, they always want to put on like a smile as you're walking by them, just to at least give off the impression that everything's fine, everything's under control, when we all know better, and all they want to do is be like, just take me with you. Can I go home now?
Where are you going? What are you doing? Can I come with you?
Yeah, I don't care what it is. I just want to get out of here right now. I could never do that. I think Jimmy actually, I think in college, like when he was going to school, I think he was part-time doing some daycare stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Got to be some horror stories there.
Oh, absolutely there has to be.
We'll have to pick at that scab at some point soon.
And I'm sure it is one.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think you would go into it thinking, oh, gosh, I love kids. It's going to be great. After one day, you're like, I don't think I like kids that much.
That was not what I wanted.
No. Wow. They're kind of jerks.
I was punched. I was hit. I was kicked. I was bit.
And they thought it was funny. I was doing more crying than they were.
Yeah.
And then, my God, the messy eaters, the smells. Now, that is a true thing. There was one day, this was Reese's old daycare we went to. I don't even know how we got into this is the daycare segment on the crossover, by the way. But walked in there and like a punch in the face. The smell was unbelievably bad. And so apparently, not only, that on top of like all the dirty diapers, apparently they had a sink backup that happened earlier in the day.
Oh, okay.
So you were getting crap on top of the crap that was taking place throughout the day. And I mean, they said it had been going on all day. So these teachers,
all day,
because I don't think my son probably wouldn't even know any better.
No.
But like, it's just a smell. I don't even know what a good smell and a bad smell is yet. I'm still young and learning stuff.
A lot of kids are stupid.
Yeah. But these workers, it was like unlivable conditions there. That was awful. I was there for 5 minutes and I had to just start breathing through my mouth. Like, this is terrible. Like when you go into the John, someone's in there like, oh God. You're like, yep, I'm not taking any more of that in. Not inhaling any of that. This is all breathing through the mouth right now.
It's got an aura about it.
Yeah. Like that and some. It was terrible. So again, they are true saints of the world. I'd like to say that to about everybody in the medical industry as well, nurses and everything. But man, people who work at daycares and that actually, are responsible, because I know there are people at daycares that aren't responsible, but people at daycares that are responsible, my gosh, whatever you make, it's not enough.
I mean, there's jerks in every profession.
There is.
Even radio.
No.
Oh.
Because we know everything.
Well,
the bottom line is we know everything you don't know as much as we do, and we're going to tell you about it. And if you want to call us jerks for that, then whatever. That's a you problem.
Yeah.
No, that I would say that we've got like the coaching profession. We've got egos. There are egos.
Yeah.
So, and they come out in different ways, I think. So I I'd like to say I don't think I have an ego, but I probably do in my own way.
I would say that about myself as well, and then my wife would quickly correct me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that's another great example of having a good woman by your side is always to point out when you're wrong.
And knock you down a peg or two.
Yep, exactly. Bring you down a peg or two, and you go that way. I forgot to ask you, how was Al Bernstein?
He was great.
Yeah?
He was great. He's going to be singing
Yes, I didn't get a chance to hear it. So what is he singing again? You said he was performing?
Great American Songbook.
Okay.
A little bit of blues and original material.
Is that going on tonight? Or was it last night?
I think it was last night in Vegas.
He's going to have to get his rest for
Yeah.
Tonight. You got to,
You got to rest the pipes.
Keep the pipes, neutral. And so we woke up Raul Marquez, who is going to be the color commentator on the fight, at 7 a.m. this morning.
Oh.
But the guy was a soldier.
Okay.
And he said he was going to go back to bed after we got done talking to him.
Yeah, I would assume that.
That was like really nice of him. Unless the only thing is, did he stay up until 7? Because when you're in Vegas,
sure,
that might happen.
Bit of a nightlife town.
Yeah, and he said they had some fun last night. I guess the Showtime boxing folks put on a pretty good party last night, and he partook. And he said they had a couple adult cocktails. He did not tell me what time he went to bed, but he did sound like he had a little bit of sleep, but probably not enough. And he did indicate that he would be going back to bed. But it was still very good.
Well, I mean, those fights don't start till like 11.
Yeah. Oh, he can sleep it all day today and tomorrow. I mean, hell, he could go on a bender tonight and
you don't
be
want
fine.
to be dragging during the fight.
That's true.
You wanna be
Last night was
well-rested.
probably the night to get after.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I was always curious about that part of, and I was asking because, I mean, he was a junior middleweight champion himself. I was curious, when you do have that late of a night, as far as the fight itself, and you want to be well rested, what time do you get up on fight day?
It's got to be late, right?
I would think so. Or do you get up like early-ish? You know, you get your sweat going, you get your nutrition, you get a good breakfast, and do you take a nap during the day? I would think there could be a nap in the middle of the day.
That seems most likely,
Yeah.
right?
But like an earlier-ish one. Like you don't want to do one like at 2 o'clock because then you might wake up, you might be kind of groggy because he was talking about, a lot of this could come down because he feels like the fight is pretty close as far as who's got the edge. I think Crawford does. But he mentioned it could come down as simple as how you woke up that morning. Were you having some anxiety, were you a little bit, running through a bunch of different things in your head, getting ready for the fight that you weren't able to sleep calmly? Could it come down to something as simple as that? Which I thought was very interesting because we always talk about, college football games, they play the night game and they don't like, most coaches don't like it because all you're doing is just waiting around to play. How about when you fight, like whatever your body clock is used to? Well, you could fight as late as like 10, 11 o'clock at night. Like, what are you doing all day? You can maybe get 2 naps in if you play your cards right.
And if you're not one of the premier athletes, like what time do you have to get there? Like what time does Al Bernstein have to get to the arena?
Right. Whenever the undercards start, I guess, but still. Yeah, I mean, you got a long day. So I would think from the broadcast standpoint, I always just assume every broadcaster is an early riser. I just assume they're like one of the first ones down in the hotel lobby having breakfast.
Makes sense.
And then they go back to their room and they're just diving in notes. They're in prep mode. But I mean, you could sleep in. See, this would be a good gig to be in. Doing the boxing commentating. I mean, you're not worried about a doubleheader in the afternoon. I mean, you've got your earliest your start is probably like 5 o'clock.
No rain delays.
Yeah, no rain delays, nothing like that. That's kind of a sweet deal.
Maybe something weird is going to happen because it's boxing.
You might get a hang glider coming in.
Yeah.
Might get an ear bitten off.
Yeah.
Stuff. Things that happen in boxing. Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a big fight. Are you watching at home? Are you going to the bars? We found out that, and we want to encourage folks, again, if you know which sports bars are having it and for what price, hit us up. But we did have one guy say that all the Tanners in Omaha are going to have them, and it's only a $10 cover. $10 cover is not bad at all.
Not bad at all when you figure in that. Well, I'm gonna buy stuff when I get in the door.
Right. And it makes sense for them because they know you're coming in, you're not going to just be sipping on water.
Yeah.
And if you do, I'm sure there's always that occasional person who will, or buy a Coke, and that'll be it. And they'll just demand free refills. But
refills all night.
I feel like usually the going rate for this thing is about $20 to $30.
Yeah.
Cover charge.
Yeah. No, I'll be watching it at home. I need the analysis. And I need to hear it. I like the sport enough to watch it, but I don't know enough about it to like understand what's happening without the sound on.
Are you so? And you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, because this might really, this might out you as far as the type of sports fan you are.
Whoa.
There are certain sports that I just cannot watch in public. And there is, when it does come to hand-to-hand combat sports, there can be a meathead element.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't particularly love being around that environment. There was one time I was watching an MMA fight a long time ago. Just actually kind of stumbled into it. I wasn't going to this place to watch it, but it was going on. And I can't count how many times the bathroom door, when I was going to the bathroom, would get kicked in by somebody who was just full of testosterone and adrenaline because of the fight. I'd rather not deal with that.
You get a bunch of insecure men wearing Affliction t-shirts all lubed up. Yeah, bad things are going to happen. Also because I'm mouthy.
Yep. Yes, I see when things like that happen, if you are the leader of the douche canoe, I usually don't have a problem pointing that out. And this is something that my wife would even tell you, that sometimes I need to channel that in different areas. Or I just need to go ahead and curb that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like if I just walked in and I haven't had a beer or anything, yeah, you probably don't have to worry about that. But if I've had a drink and I get annoyed in crowds anymore, especially like places where I meant to go here for this reason and then I stumbled into this and now I'm already kind of annoyed, but we've already got here and sat down. And so I'm kind of a baby that way. So I'll kind of sulk. And then so if that scene becomes more annoying to me or obnoxious to me, I start to get vocal about it, not like in a confrontational way, but I'll say something that could be loud enough to where maybe the next table heard it. And then, what did he say? Don't worry about it. I didn't. And then my wife's like, stop it. Stop. But you're right. It usually starts with an Affliction shirt. I would say, good things don't usually happen after 2 a.m. I would say not a lot of good experiences start with an Affliction shirt.
Well, question at Happer Show, do most bad experiences start with an Affliction t-shirt?
It's true, though.
That's got to be an overwhelming yes, right?
It better be, and if it isn't, it's coming from the people who are putting on those Affliction shirts.
Is there a more modern reference than an Affliction t-shirt?
Yeah. Yes. Is there, because there was the Ed Hardy look too?
Yeah, it was Ed Hardy.
Ed Hardy and Affliction.
Yeah.
I don't know if there is a newer one, because the Affliction, this goes back to the days when I was in Columbus. We would always point out, we've got some Affliction dudes. So, I mean, it was something that we always kept our eye on. I mean, hell, that was over 10 years ago. So maybe there is a new brand that is like the new Affliction, where if you got a group of them wearing this, it's like, these boys could be trouble. Let's watch what they're being served. Let's watch what if they're viewing some hand-to-hand martial arts, combat, mixed martial arts, boxing. We might have a problem with this group over here. Because, it's there.
Better start watering down their drinks.
Did this guy look like he was doing some tanning? Because he got spiky hair? Basically, if you saw the video of my new haircut, you're looking out for that guy. He's got might even go as far as maybe popping a collar. I don't think anybody pops the collar anymore.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't think they do that anymore. But I feel like, you get the loud dude that looks like, even though it's summer, he still fake bakes. And he's got spiky hair. Yeah.
A lot of fake baking going on at Big Ten Media Days this week.
See, Alyssa's got the popcorn outside, by the way.
I could smell it. Yeah.
That's amazing. It just, as it comes by the door, with the door closed, we still get the vent of the popcorn aroma coming in. Now, that's service right there.
You.
Look at Alyssa is just, wow.
None for you, Nick.
I know. Just hand delivers it to you. But she knows you got, my day's ending. Your day's just beginning. So enjoy that popcorn.
I always do.
Enjoy that fight tomorrow night.
I hope I will. I'm no fun to watch a Crawford fight with.
Why?
Because I get so nervous because I'm like, I can't even appreciate the good punches that Crawford's throwing. Just anytime a glove comes near him, I'm like,
Isn't that the best part about boxing?
He can take a fight. He
Yeah.
can take a punch.
Yeah. But that's like the best part of boxing, because if you catch someone, no matter what your skill level is, if you catch someone at the right time in the wrong spot, dunzo.
Over in a second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does this is the thing I'm worried, because I have not ordered a pay-per-view fight for so long. The last time we did it was in like the Tyson era. And you remember how quickly those fights would go. Now, the last one that I ordered, though, was Holyfield Tyson, the first one, not the ear-biting one. And it was a good one, and it went the distance. That was actually a really good fight. But we were burned, as many people were, with, like, I remember we ordered the Spinks fight, and that was like 91 seconds. And there was a time where, Tyson wasn't even getting out of the first round, that he was just obliterating people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this fight, even though I like Bud, I don't think this fight is like a 3 or 4 rounder.
No.
I think this thing has a chance to either go the distance or be that you feel like you got your money's worth.
Bud always feels it out.
Yes. And it takes him a couple rounds to do so.
You're getting 3 rounds.
Yeah.
At least.
You can't just set a trap in the first round.
Yeah.
He's setting traps in the first couple rounds, and it'll be good. Now I'm looking forward to it. All right, man, I'll let you get back to it. Enjoy your show and more Big Ten Media Days and your popcorn too.
Oh, that's the main event.
Yeah.
Get on the YouTube, watch me eat popcorn.
Now I'm going to go eat some too.
All right. Enjoy your popcorn.
I will.
All right. That's Nick Hanley. I'm Josh Odson. Nobody's here today. So, we'll get through it together. We'll recap Big Ten Media Days and get you ready for the weekend next on 1620 The Zone.
That's The Crossover. The Connor Happer Show is next on 1620 The Zone. Mornings with Sharp and Handley.
The best programs that have the best bond between players, the way you recruited that kid when he was a junior or senior in high school, and the way you treated him and got to know him is the same when he gets on campus, and he's not just a number.
Exactly.
He's still that same person that you were in mama's front room eating dinner and trying to woo mom and dad or whoever that they could trust you with their son. You develop about a 6-year relationship, and then hopefully a relationship for life as a coach.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Excessive heat warning in effect all day Friday, as we'll see highs climb into the upper 90s with heat index values between 105 and 120 degrees. Then a chance for a few scattered strong storms possible into the evening and overnight hours. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house.
No better time than now to focus on your garden or landscape. Come shop Lanahaw's Garden Center, filled with the area's best quality plants, flowers, and trees. Rooted in quality, unmatched value. Lanahaw Nurseries, 192nd and Center.
Ever walk through a door and see all the trucks? Yeah, it's kind of like that at Gretna Auto Outlet. Half-ton trucks, 3/4-ton trucks, dualies, gas or diesel. Gretna Auto Outlet will be happy to show it to you. They don't call it truck heaven for nothing, you know. Stop in the climate-controlled comfort of the indoor showroom or online with the virtual showroom at GretnaAuto.com. Gretna Auto Outlet, open Sundays too, just north of Nebraska Crossing on Highway 6 in Gretna.
Happy birthday to us. That's right. We're turning 50 this year, and we're celebrating with you. Introducing my new birthday cake streusel, topped with vanilla cake and crunchy streusel, a swirl of white icing, and showered with rainbow sprinkles. Paired with our classic combo, the one that started it all, and your favorite one-topping pizza. Happy birthday feast. Enjoy one today. Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
Duck Defense Midwest makes your home healthier and improves the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com for a special duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. That's cleanairradio.com.
What's better than a great summer? How about a great summer sale at 42 degrees? Summer doesn't get any hotter than this. Get great products like Hidden Hills Delta disposables and carts for 25% off. Heat up the savings with Kratom priced at just $9.99. All with the friendliest, most knowledgeable, and professional staff trained to find the right products just for you. It may be hot outside, but it's a cool 42 degrees inside for the summer sale. By your mom's house.
That's Mike saying good morning. It's the best he can do right now. Yeah, not a cloud in the sky. What Mike could use is a fresh start. And Irish Spring Body Wash. The fresh scent of Irish Spring and those sensational Irish Spring suds are just the reset Mike needs. Now he's ready
to go to work.
It's Sunday. Irish Spring. When the spring hits you, you're ready. Pick up Irish Spring today.
Morning, Mama. How you feeling?
Great, and I'm ready for you today.
I'm checking in on you. Morning meditation?
Check.
Dressed and ready to work out?
Check.
Check your blood pressure yet?
And check.
Boom! Great job, Mom. And about those gold earrings?
No, ma'am.
Now more than ever, it's important that we protect our hearts and the hearts of those we love. Monitor your blood pressure daily and help each other stay motivated. Rally your squad to take the online pledge at releasethepressure.org. Brought to you by the Release the Pressure Coalition and the Ad Council.
Howdy, Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. Time now for another Nebraska Outdoor Update. Hey, how about some interesting nature facts to get you outdoors? Did you know that Nebraska has more than 70 state parklands, more than 100 species of fish, more than 400 species of birds, and more than 1,500 species of native plants? We do. You need more numbers? Go online to the Game and Parks website, outdoornebraska.gov. Question for you. Planning to be on the water this season? Great. But remember, wear your life jacket. Keep in mind that most people who drown in boating accidents are not wearing theirs. It's like I tell folks all the time, life jackets, they float, you don't on the water, so why wouldn't you be wearing yours? Please think about that and be safe. I'm Greg Wagner with the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission.
Nick Handley here. You know, we are really lucky to have DJ's Dugout here in Omaha. For 30 years, DJ's has always been Omaha's own casual and comfortable iconic sports bar. There's no better place to watch sports and gather with family and friends. Huge media walls, great food and drinks, whatever the season, football, volleyball, basketball, watch the game at DJ's, and DJ's handles large groups too. DJ's Dugout is locally and Vietnam veteran owned. Dig in at the Dugout.
It's the Connor Happer Show with Connor Happer and Josh Odson. Let's get ready to rumble.
Licensing of the phrase "let's get ready to rumble" just over the last 7+ years internationally is grossed approximately close to $400 million in retail sales.
Really?
You guys look like, what do they look like, Jimmy?
Dorks. They look like a couple of dorks.
On 1620, The Zone.
Good Friday morning. It is the Connor Happer Show. Connor Happer. It's another travel day. If you follow him on social media, you know he's already a couple pints in, which normally I'd get mad at, but I'm actually kind of jealous of. Nice little Friday beer at the airport in the morning. Morning beers, underrated in my opinion. It's Josh Odson here, normally the producer. Many would say intrepid producer. But here we are. We're going to do a Friday show. Together, we'll be joined at the top of the hour, just 15 minutes away. Bryan Munson is going to tell us all we need to know about the recruiting game. Who's in, who's out, what's happening with Matt Rule and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Fresh off of media days, we'll talk to Bryan Christopherson at 11:30. He was there. He was boots on the ground, so to speak. He's got a column out on Husker 24/7 that I'm working my way through. We'll ask him what he thought of the head Husker and all the players in Indianapolis. Great time out there. Talked to a lot of great guests, and if you didn't catch everything, we'll have some of the best stuff from Connor and Gary at Media Days. Also some stuff that some interviews, some people speaking that you didn't hear from on the radio this week. We'll bring it to you here this afternoon before 2 o'clock. I wanted to start with sort of my takeaways from Big Ten Media Days in Indianapolis. First takeaway, thought Connor and Gary did a great job. Second takeaway, kind of thought Chris Prudhomme was a little lazy. There, I said it. Yep. Hot take, get the show started today. No, I'm joking. I thought the whole team did great. Big thanks to Fremont Roofing, PB&J Welding for shipping the boys out there to Indianapolis this week. We appreciate their support. And, of course, Ultimate Baseball Academy. My main takeaway, the main word that I think of when I look back on Matt Rule and particularly Jeff Sims, a lot of poise. A lot of poise. Those are trap feels like too strong of a word, but I can't think of a better one right now. Those can be traps, those media days things. A lot of microphones in front of you, a lot of lights in front of you. Very easy to say the wrong thing or to say a stupid thing. I do it from 10 to 2 most days here on 1620 The Zone. But I thought everyone carried themselves incredibly well. Mitch Sherman, in his column on The Athletic up this morning, I believe, he made a great point, as he always does. He said, you don't win any games at Big Ten Media Days, but you can lose games. You can set a bad tone for the season going forward. Remember Scott Frost last year? I think you do. But Matt Rule carried himself with a lot of poise. The opening statement, we thought, Matt Rule loves to hear Matt Rule talk. And I mean that as a compliment, actually. I know it sounds like a rude insult, but it's not. You thought he'd go out there and deliver one of those Matt Rule sermons we've come to know and love already, but he didn't. Very, very measured, very, hey, how's everyone doing? I'll take a lot of questions instead. And quite frankly, I think that was the better way to go. It gave us a lot of things to talk about. Chili and cinnamon rolls, second question out of the gate. That whole Wisconsin question, which I don't even really want to get into that today, but we'll see if time allows. How about that? He handled everything that was thrown at him with incredible poise, as can be expected with Matt Rule. Very measured answers, measured responses. He talked a lot yesterday with a lot of people on stage, off stage, on radio, on TV, and I don't think he said a damn thing. And that's okay. Because I'm tired of having the coach that is super transparent, like super. Scott Frost said things in the same way that Matt Rule does. He was very good at coach speak, but he was very bad at body language. And you could tell what he was thinking if he believed what he was saying. It's almost as if kids could do the same thing and bought in based on those body language reactions. But Matt Rule handled himself very well. You knew he was going to. But because that's his element, right? That Matt Rule loves Big Ten Media Days. Matt Rule loves a scenario like that where he can advertise the program, sell the program to the entire nation all at once. Now, I don't know about the whole nation. A lot of kids outside of Big Ten country watching Big Ten Network for Big Ten Media Days. I don't think so. It's media honks like us and diehard fans like you. But my next takeaway, the players, and even to a certain extent, because it is his element, everybody seemed to be having fun. The vibes were very good, so to speak. Ethan Piper, Luke Reimer, the guys talked to them on radio yesterday, and they just really seem to be enjoying themselves. I forget who Gary asked this question of, but it was one of the Nebraska players. It was either Ethan or Luke. I can't remember. The last 2 days are a blur. Is football fun again? And first of all, great question, Gary. Second of all, the answer was an immediate, oh yeah, this I'm having a lot of fun again. And you could tell a weight had been lifted off of them, so to speak. Like everything about the program, everything that these players are asked about right now comes from an angle of positivity, whereas when Scott Frost was at the helm, everything came from an angle of negativity. All the media questions, that is, like, nobody's looking to get Ethan Piper to trip up and say that, oh, this Matt Rule guy's a real jerk. Like, no, but last year, the year before that, we were looking at these players and like essentially asking them, you think this Scott Frost guy knows what he's doing up there? So it was very refreshing to see the players able to have some fun again. I'm tired of hearing the word culture. I'll tell you that much. Not just from Nebraska, Wisconsin, Minnesota. I mean, the new coaches are building a culture, and they want to tell you how they're building a culture. And then there's programs like Northwestern and Minnesota where the culture might be very, very bad, very, very toxic, maybe even illegal. And Michigan, how's their culture? I'm tired of hearing the word culture. I'm ready for dudes to start hitting each other. I'm ready for a football game. Like, I'm tired of the talk. I'm tired of hearing Matt Rule talk. Like, I think he's great. I think it, quote unquote, it's gonna work. Like, I'm very confident that the mistakes of the last 5 years are going to go away. Matt Rule's going to coach a very smart football team that hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, it isn't going to beat themselves. And I'm looking forward to seeing it on the field because A, I'm tired of hearing them talk, and B, I still have no idea what it's going to look like. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what their strong suit's going to be. I don't know what their identity is going to be. And I'm really kind of excited to see that now. Like, okay, enough talk. Let's do this. Let's see what it looks like. Let's see how good this football team is. Let's see if they're up to the challenge. I'm even ready to see what the November version of this football team looks like versus the August and September version of this football team, because a lot of guys have said it this week, and I tend to agree with it. This football team's going to be better by the end of the year than they are at the start of the year. I joke around famously. No preseason in college football, and people love to point out, the biggest jump in a college football season is between weeks 1 and week 2. Like, we know, but I think it'll be very true with this team. So tired of the talk, tired of the word culture, excited to see what it looks like on the field. As for Jeff Sims, I didn't consume a lot of the things that happened outside of 1620 The Zone. The things that happened on 1620 The Zone were enough. So the one time I heard Jeff Sims speak yesterday was with Gary and Connor out in Indianapolis. And he didn't come out and say it, but the guys kind of pressed him like, okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to run or are you going to throw? And he kind of had this tone about him, this chuckle in his voice where, to me at least, it kind of seemed like he was saying, I would really like to run the football myself, but they do not want me to. They want me to be a throwing quarterback, and I accept that. I am willing to follow coach's lead, and I will do that. But if there's a lane open, I might take it. It seemed like he was willing to run, but the coaching staff had maybe even expressly told him, you are here to throw the football. So again, excited to see what it looks like on the playing field instead of in an empty arena. But either way, I think you saw the building blocks this week. You saw, all right, everyone's got a good head on their shoulders, a lot of clean slates. Let's go out there and get to work on Monday with training camp, and we'll get to work. And we're less than a month now, less than 30 days away from seeing what this thing looks like. And on the topic of Matt Rule talking a ton, Connor has said this, and the first time I heard it, I kind of dismissed it. I was like, no. The more I hear it, though, the more I believe it. Matt Rule is PJ Fleck light. He absolutely loves sloganeering. He loves the traditional phrases that football coaches love, like Matt Rule, probably upset he didn't think of the Fleck Bank first. Like, oh, that's good. You could trade in Matt Rule points for something. Like, the way he talks is not to the extreme cultish level of PJ Fleck. It's like all of if there are best parts to PJ Fleck, like Matt Rule has adopted those. He has looked at PJ Fleck and said, I like some of the things you're doing there. I like this and this and this, so I will take those. The clapping, the poison in the weight room, the new chemical peels, the new faces, you can have all that. I will take the good things that you do, and I will have people like me and not think that I'm a crazy person. So that's kind of what I saw from Matt Rule and company at Big Ten Media Days. Ryan on YouTube with a fair question after I called Matt Rule PJ Fleck light. Does Matt Rule make the team clap really loud when he enters the room? Ryan, I think they might just like Matt Rule and clap when he enters the room. Like, hey, coach is here. Everybody, coach is here. So TBD on that one. Apparently, sometime today, little birdie told me, we will get the schedule and media availability during training camp, and it sounds like this is going to be a pretty open, pretty transparent training camp, at least. I hope the season shakes out that way as well. So when that comes down, we will report it back to you. But for right now, we got to talk some recruiting. We got to talk Matt Rule recruiting. Who's next? Who's the targets? Are we going to land them? Can we start puffing our chest out to these other schools and make them fear Nebraska again? We'll talk with our recruiting expert, Bryan Munson. Next, it's the Connor Happer Show. Josh Odson hosting today on 1620 The Zone.
The best way to catch all the action is on 1620 The Zone. And no line for the bathroom.
Attention homeowners. Are you ready to unleash the power of savings? J-Tech Construction and Solar, the official exterior experts of the Huskers, has an exclusive offer. Purchase any 2 trades from our winning lineup of services: windows, doors, siding, roofs, gutters, and solar, and receive a 10% discount on your entire purchase. Click yourexteriorexperts.com to schedule your free consultation today. Double up on savings and save with J-Tech Construction and Solar, the official exterior experts of the Huskers. Click yourexteriorexperts.com.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call in the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Ask Sherwin-Williams during the Shades of Summer sale, July 28th through August 7th, and get 35% off paints and stains with prices starting at $28.92. That means 35% off our most popular color family, blue. Psychologists have found it to be soothing and relaxing, which makes it especially great for bedrooms and bathrooms. And of course, get 35% off all of our other colors. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Attention sales professionals. NRG Media is looking for an accomplished business-to-business salesperson who wants to take their success and skills to a new level. Is this you? Our account executives work with local businesses to create marketing plans to help them get more customers. On air, digital, on-site, audio, video, it's all part of what you can sell. A sales career with NRG lets you make a real difference. Get more info and apply online at nrgmedia.com. NRG Media is an equal opportunity employer.
0.05 seconds. That's how long it takes users to form an opinion about a website. If you're unsure that your website meets today's standards, go to jmonline.com and book a call with an expert today. At JM Online, we redesigned our own website last year, a project that has already delivered us a positive ROI. From advanced micro interactions to a beautiful mobile design, check out what we're capable of at jmonline.com.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aww. He just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Vamos a tener mucha diversión.
And that means we're going to have so much fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at babbel.com. Just go to babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
Time out!
Bryan Munson.
Hey, long call. Comfy left Zoom Buster. 63 Bang Z Maui. Alert. Paradise Z Burger Y Wrap on one.
Husker Online on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Friday at 11 o'clock. That means we welcome in Bryan Munson, Husker Online, the recruiting guru, as we call him. Bryan, how are we doing today?
I'm doing good. We finally have some refreshed or new fresh data, I guess I should say, about recruiting to even talk about. It seems like we've been regurgitating and playing hypotheticals for the last 3 to 4 weeks, and finally we've got a visitor on campus today. We've got all those visitors coming in on Sunday, and then there's a little thing called fall camp that opens up on Sunday as well. So that sounds fun.
Well, that's amazing. Excellent timing, because I got to be completely honest with you and the audience, Bryan. I don't know a lot about recruiting.
Oh.
But well, I'm tasked with conducting a 10 to 15 minute interview with you about recruiting.
Well, let's talk about what's going on today, because this is a very important visitor. Davu Tuataga. And for the listeners out there, you know, this is a 6'5.5", 230-pound edge rusher. And if you're keeping score at home, and the 24 commitments that Nebraska has in the 2024 class, there's not a pass rusher in there. You have Ashton Murphy, that's, you know, more of that base 4, base 5 kind of guy that you could put his hand in the dirt, and he's going to be, you know, have to set the anchor and keep the edge and all that good stuff. But there's not a guy that's a pin his ears back and let him go get the quarterback kind of guy. And Tuataga, I think, to me, you know, he's initially, to me anyway, he's that 3-4 walk up outside guy. He could play that edge rusher for you. I think he could actually even drop off into space a little bit and play that jack linebacker for Nebraska as well. And this is a guy that we've talked about a couple of times through the month of June. He had set up a couple of official visit dates and had to cancel, and then rescheduled the one to the other, and had to cancel that one too because he had forgotten about a team camp that was supposed to happen later on in June. So Nebraska is going to get a chance to host him today, and then he's off to Oregon tomorrow, which might be the leader for his services. But this is a very important trip, because honestly, if you go back and you took a look at the offer board and the remaining prospects that are out there and guys that Nebraska has previously brought in and what might be kind of going on with them, there's really a lack of options here. I mean, you get to a point where you maybe we want to talk about a Jayshon Ross, who's teammates with Keelan Smith there in Liberty, Missouri. Otherwise, a lot of these guys are off the board. So Davu Tuataga, very interesting guy to keep an eye on. I think what the plan is here is takes this visit today, goes to Oregon tomorrow. Obviously, things shut down into the dead period of the month of August. And I think he plans on taking his official visits in the months of October and November. So look for Nebraska to try to get him back on campus later this fall.
Do we have any idea what the pitch will be versus Oregon? Like, hey, you can be the focal point, the star here.
That's where I start. I mean, you have, I think it's going to be really interesting for a lot of these defenders to wait it out a little bit and see what this defense is going to be all about. You've got a couple guys like Princewell and Cameron Lenhart, and there's some young dudes that are going to play up front, this season. I think that Nebraska can pitch him opportunity. I think that they can pitch him a very quick way to get on the football field. I think it's tough to kind of compete with Oregon when it comes to NIL, and of course the other team that seems to be up there in the on-3 RPM percentages, trending for him is Tennessee, and also a very good sports collective, NIL collective, there in Knoxville. So I think what you pitch here is you pitch path to the field and the fact that, Nebraska's not going to be afraid to play some young dudes. And they know that there's going to be some growing pains, but they know that they have some exceptional talent there in the young ranks. So I think that there's those two things there, the ability to get on the football field and Nebraska not being too hesitant about playing young guys and making them grow in the on-the-job training.
Who else is Nebraska going to target? It can't just be one guy right now. There's many eyes on many players, I'm sure.
I think the 2024 class is interesting. I mentioned this in Tunnel Talk because, they're sitting at 24 commitments currently. And I think if you backed up and you kind of looked at where the needs still kind of are, you see the pass rusher. I think you still are looking for an offensive tackle opposite Preston Talamua. And that's likely the most, prevalent name or the name that makes the most sense, I think, to throw out there is Grant Bricks, and he'll be back in Lincoln on Sunday. And then I think you get into some, a pipe dream in Brandon Baker and potentially if he takes an official visit to Nebraska, I think you've got, a couple more guys coming in the month of September potentially that could make some sense, like Nuku Mafi or Samisi Tonga. It's going to matter a little bit there, obviously, which side of the football, Nebraska's kind of looking at either one of those guys to kind of play. I think, though, that what happens here, though, then is that if you get your tackle and you get your pass rusher, you're sitting at 26, you've got Amari Sanders sticking out there. I brought up Baker's name. I brought up Tonga and Mafi. You got Nate Frazier, who's the number one running back in the nation, according to On3, that's potentially still kicking around the idea of coming in and taking an official visit to Nebraska. I think the one kind of burning question that has been asked by many before is how big does this class get? And I mentioned in Tunnel Talk today, I said I think from listening to the words of Matt Rule yesterday, I don't think that that's really a concern much anymore. I think things have really, really, really changed when it comes to this retiree list, when it comes to portal. I think managing the 85 becomes critical. I don't think that you're going to see as large a number of players on the roster, on the 85 scholarship, man roster, that are non-performers, that are getting recruited over in year two. I think Nebraska is going to have to try to find ways to get these players a little bit more involved earlier on in their careers and make sure that, of course, that it's got a plan and there's a cycle to it, as opposed to, recruiting over those guys very, very early on. I think that those are going to be situations there that Matt Rule and his staff are going to have to learn to manage, and I think that they already have, obviously, because you've seen some changes on the roster so far, and I think that this class could get as big as it needs to get, potentially, especially if a Frazier or a Baker wants to get.
Bryan Munson with us here from Husker Online, talking recruiting. I cannot help but notice that a lot of the names you have said so far seem to be, and excuse me if I'm wrong, of Samoan culture.
Mm-hmm.
Is that an influence of the Raiola family? And they make great football players generally. Is that the Raiola family at work there?
I think it's partly the Raiola family at work. I mean, you have Nuka Mafi and Sinisi Tonga. They're in Utah and they play for Chinio Finoti. So obviously a great Nebraska football legendary offensive lineman for Nebraska. Good pro career that's now a high school coach out in Utah. So I think that there's a bit of a connection there, but I think that there's a Donovan Raiola connection going back to the Taumua offer initially. But what was really, really clear to me in talking to Taumua a week ago after he committed, he committed because of Matt Rule. He liked what Matt Rule had to say. He likes what Matt Rule has going for him in terms of track record and turning programs around. I'm sure that Donovan Raiola plays a large part in that kind of plan, and in what Taumua kind of sees, and how Donovan Raiola sees Taumua, and potentially getting him on the field either as an interior or an offensive tackle. I think that that's pretty critical. But I do feel like while Donovan Raiola plays a big part with the Polys, the only Poly currently on the commitment list really committed once he saw and met Matt Rule. So I think that there's some exposure stuff opening up there. I think Nebraska would love to grow the Polynesian culture in Lincoln. I think it's a little bit overstated from the days going back to the 90s, when you could probably name a handful of the guys that were around. But I think Nebraska, obviously it's been appealing before in the past. You can name off some Poly guys. So I think it's one of those things where you can be successful, recruiting from that and not feel like you have nothing to offer. I think that obviously you have that assistant coach, and I think you have a history of having great Polynesian players on your team.
We I believe it was last week, you were on and you talked about a lot of the guys that Dylan Raiola was peer recruiting have come, they've visited, they've talked, they've loved what they've seen. Is there any update on sort of those ancillary guys behind Dylan who might have said, even though he's not going here, I might need to take a good long look at Nebraska?
Yeah, I think Brandon Baker and Nate Frazier are the two that kind of stand out the most, because I mean those were clearly guys that we had identified some contact, tracing back from Raiola to them. And I mean the contract tracing was elaborate. I mean Raiola was communicating with a ton of guys. I mean, from taking visits to other schools and meeting them, or reaching out to them generally over social media and having communication with them that way. Baker and Frazier are two guys that he hunted down. And obviously, you saw obviously Frazier didn't come back at the spring game. Baker did, but Aiden Breland came in, who is one of the top defensive linemen in the country. So I think that what you get there, obviously, is that, number one, I think Nebraska fans, really respect the effort that Matt Rule has made when it comes to recruiting some of these really talented, highly rated players in the country. But number two, I think realistically, they know what their chances have been with many of them, including Dylan Raiola. It's really difficult to go up against, Georgia, back-to-back champions, Oregon, the recruiting national champ last year, if you want to go that far, but whatever else they've got going kind of in Eugene and among the other programs, of course, that are recruiting those guys. But Baker and Frazier, who I'd mentioned before, I still feel like Nebraska could get a shot to host both those guys. I mean, it's pretty telling to me when you have a guy like Baker, who is, one of the best offensive tackles in the country, that names the top 10 and includes Nebraska and the other 9 teams off the top of my head. I can't remember really, but Alabama, and Oregon, and Georgia, and all those other good schools. So for Nebraska to kind of get mentioned in the same breath as those 9 schools is a win in itself. It's a moral victory. And same with Frazier, who named the top 8 and included Nebraska. But both those guys, have accelerated their commitment announcement dates. Baker was talking like December. Now he's talking like he could actually get it done before the start of the season. And at the same time, he's still kind of kicking around the idea that he's going to take an official visit to Nebraska in the fall, and that could be for the Michigan game weekend. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see. But like once those kind of final 2 names kind of fall off right there, I think it gets back to kind of, this class, it was going to be more about like the evaluation of Matt Rule and the dependency or the trust that he has in the development of the people that are really in charge of the development, the strength and conditioning and the nutritional people, getting them in if they have the right things. He really nailed it yesterday in the Big Ten Media Days when he started talking about the guys that were coming in running 4.4s and jumping 10.5 and all this thing. I mean, he was like, if I can't, coach those guys to play the game of football, I'm not a very good coach. So he's starting at that basis of like an athletic profile and an athletic evaluation. So the testing was important, running the drills were important. And once he was able to kind of put all that together and watch some film, that's when a lot of those offers took place in June. So it's interesting how he kind of put that board together, and then he's still got guys like Baker and Frazier still hanging out there that could take a visit in September.
Bryan Munson joining us. A perfect segue. Thank you. A number of times during our conversation today, you have mentioned September visits. Is there a game that's going to be more attended than others from the recruits? Is it going to be the home opener, the beginning of the Matt Rule era under the lights? Is it going to be Michigan? Do we know if there's one game where they're really going to bring the recruits?
Yeah, that's something that's still really coming together. I mean, because here you are in end of July, and you have a class of 24. You've got a guy like Amari Sanders that could announce his commitment here this week, next week, sometime before maybe the end of August. Before his season kind of gets underway. And that could bring you up to 25, and then you're sitting back, and Grant Bricks could be a guy that could still decide that he's going to go ahead and do something before the start of his season. So that's another guy to kind of watch, and you start creeping up on 26. So what I'm trying to get at here a little bit is that these big official visitor weekends, they've kind of already taken place. You kind of already had those weekends in the month of June. You will still see these players, particularly the regional guys, get back in, especially like a Thursday night game, against Minnesota. That's the away game. But like the first game that could really be a weekend or a game that they could get back for will be like Northern Illinois on September 16th. I don't know of anybody coming in on the 16th yet, but there are some names floating around out there again for Michigan. I mentioned Mafi and Tonga. And that is the weekend so far that we've heard, the most rumors around Baker and potentially Frazier also coming in that weekend. So I think that the official visitor weekends, as the season kind of plays out, are going to be interesting because I think there's going to be heightened value because the class is literally complete. I mean, with a couple of exceptions. It's just you're looking for a couple missing pieces. So when we start talking about official visitors, later in the month of August or even into the month of September, you really need to earmark those names because those are just like some of the last final moving pieces potentially that Nebraska would like to add to the class.
Bryan, I will get you out of here on this as a person who does not know a ton about recruiting, but like It's because I don't have the brain capacity. It's not because I'm not interested in it. I don't have the capacity for all these names, all these schools, all these places, people moving all over the place. So I don't know how you guys do what you do, but is there anything that like, wow, Josh is a real idiot for not asking me about this? And if so, let's do that now.
Well, so here's a great move by Matt Rule, and then we'll end with this because it makes the most sense. So we mentioned that Tuataga is coming in today. On Sunday, Nebraska is hosting over 30 visitors for kind of their end of the summer, before fall camp kind of barbecue. And it's going to be a combination of 2024 guys and 2025 guys. So for the most part, the 2024 guys is really a collection of the regional commitments, although I did see Quinn Clark is coming in from Montana, so not really a regional guy there, but still a guy that's coming in to kind of spend some time with his classmates, with guys that he's going to be, calling teammates here in the future. So that's kind of an interesting thing to kind of go out there and check out. We got all the visitor lists kind of hooked up out there, but you go Grant Bricks, like I mentioned before, is coming in, 2024 guys. That's kind of your headliner there. But the 2025 list is really interesting. The top two players coming in, skill position, wide receiver. Then you get into a number of big-time offensive tackles. And I think that what this list does for me, really quick, Josh, is it reinforces how good the talent is in the area of Nebraska. So middle of the country, border states, kind of that 500-mile radius guy that we've talked about before. Nebraska is bringing in about 20 of them. I think it's like 18, 17. There's a couple of them dropped off, I think, because of commitments to other schools. But I think that this is a really important group to come in because you got Christian Jones from West Side. You got Alex Mansky, who's probably the number one quarterback on Nebraska's board for 2025. You got both the commitments coming in for 2025 out of Omaha. So really interesting group to watch coming in this weekend. It's going to be great to catch up with those guys Sunday afternoon to see how their visit went.
Bryan Munson, Husker Online, thank you so much. And I hope I didn't discredit you in any way, shape, or form.
Not at all, sir. Have a great weekend, man.
All right, there you go. Take care.
See you, bud.
All right, Bryan Munson, Husker Online. You can get at him on Twitter at Bryan Munson. There's a little teeny tiny underscore after his name there, so don't forget that if you're trying to get the latest from Bryan and the crew on Twitter. We will step aside. We'll come back. We'll talk to another Bryan, but this guy spells it differently. He spells it with an I. It's Brian Christopherson. He's got a column up at Husker 24/7. He was at Media Days. We'll find out what he learned from Matt Rule and the rest of the conference at large next on the Connor Happer Show. Josh Odson filling in for him today on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Ted and Wally's Ultra Premium Ice Cream is the best ice cream from planet Earth, and part of the reason why is because Ted and Wally's only uses premium flavorings, some of which is locally sourced.
My name is Sophia Jordan, and I am with Black Bottom Biscotti. You know, you want people to love your passion, what you're passionate about, and Ted and Wally's has been a terrific outlet for me. When I tell people the places they can get Black Bottom Biscotti, and I said Ted and Wally's, oh, I know them, and so they can go there, and they'll even put on Facebook, look what I got at Ted and Wally's while holding up one of my biscottis. So yeah, it feels really good.
There you have it. Just one of the reasons Ted and Wally's Ultra Premium Ice Cream is so good. And after more than 35 years, it just keeps getting better. Get some today in Benson, the Old Market, and at tedandwallys.com.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Union Omaha, who will be at home 3 times over the next couple of weeks. This Saturday, the 29th versus South Georgia, August the 2nd versus Lexington Sporting Club, and then back at home again on August the 5th versus One Knox SC. And how about this for August the 2nd? It is $2 night. Burn tickets, domestic beers, hot dogs, nachos, Pepsi products as well. How do you buy tickets? Visit their website today, unionomaha.com.
Hey there, Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. Time now for another Nebraska Outdoor Update. How about some interesting nature facts to get you outdoors? Did you know that Nebraska has more than 70 state parklands, more than 100 species of fish, more than 400 species of birds, and more than 1,500 species of native plants? We do. You need more numbers? Go online to the Game and Parks website, outdoornebraska.gov.
When your home or business needs a new roof, it's time for Omaha's Ferris Roofing Company. WeatherGuard Inc., owned and operated by NCAA Division I and Final Four referee John Higgins. Rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau, America's leading installer of premium Da Vinci roofs, residential, commercial, roofs, siding, gutters. The rooferees at WeatherGuard Inc. are the fairest game in town. Request a free estimate at rooferees.com.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
I've been driving trucks for a long time. Safety is my number one priority. I know that my truck has huge blind spots. That's why I remember to check my mirrors often for smaller vehicles. Everyone can help keep our roads safe. Next time you're behind the wheel, try to avoid lingering in those blind spots. It can be dangerous. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Learn how at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
No matter how dark it gets, there's always a sunrise, a warm bed, a warm meal, and hope. Sienna Francis House serves hope to those experiencing homelessness and addiction. Every day, we provide more than 1,000 meals and serve nearly 500 guests in our emergency shelter, Miracles Recovery Program, and supportive housing apartments, and help our guests navigate a path to permanent housing. Learn more at siennafrancis.org.
I wanted to quit for so long, but I didn't know where to start.
I was afraid of what people would think, but then I found the right support to start my recovery journey. 1 in 14 Americans reports experiencing a substance use disorder, a treatable medical condition. Treatment can take many forms, so there are a variety of options to explore and find the one that works best for you. Recovery from drug addiction is possible.
Paid for by the CDC. Sponsored by Nebraska DHHS. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Morning, Mama. How you feeling?
Great, and I'm ready for you today.
I'm checking in on you. Morning meditation?
Check.
Dressed and ready to work out?
Check.
Check your blood pressure yet?
And check.
Boom! Great job, Mom. And about those gold earrings?
No, ma'am.
Now more than ever, it's important that we protect our hearts and the hearts of those we love. Monitor your blood pressure daily and help each other stay motivated. Rally your squad to take the online pledge at releasethepressure.org. Brought to you by the Release the Pressure Coalition and the Ad Council.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone.
Connor Happer Show. Connor on his way back from Indianapolis. Already had a couple morning beers at the airport. Josh Odson filling in for him. Today I am joined by Bryan Christopherson, who is on the way back from Indianapolis, Big Ten Media Days. He's from Husker 24/7 BC. Where are you at currently?
We're 80 miles from Des Moines.
Okay. Making good progress. Do you think you're making good time?
Yeah, that's an important thing to say in the Midwest. Are you making good time? I would say we're making good time. My coworker Brunch got me up at 5 a.m. back home. Is that what it was, Brunch? Man, I'm just giving him crap. But yeah, we are making good time because we got up early.
Okay. What kind of snacks are in the car right now?
Not much for snacks.
Wow.
We made a Starbucks stop, and that's part of the this making good time. We don't want to let anything get in the way, so we didn't make a big stop.
Okay. Well, I guess let's get down to business then. Big Ten Media Days. What did you learn from the Nebraska contingent?
Well, I thought Rule. Obviously, I think he impressed a lot of people just with the care that he put into it. I think Nebraska fans appreciated that, with the helmet behind him, with the N logo, you had a head coach who, I think was really dialed into the day. And, he had this quote about how he woke up that morning and he told Keith Mann, let's get over there first. I want to be over there first. I want to beat people over there. And it sort of set a tone of this matters because everything has to matter. And some people would say, well, that's not a big deal. I mean, you're talking about media days, but he's got 3 of his key players along for the ride with him, and he's showing by example, whatever you're doing that day, whatever's right in front of you, it's important, and you got to maximize it and do the best you can at it. And I thought that really shined through yesterday. And I'm not here to do a whole comparison with other coaches in the past and stuff like that. We all know how it's gone, but it was a little bit of fresh air, I thought, for just like the way the whole process went, just like in the communication. I mean, he was off to the side for 45 minutes with the media, and at the end he's like, yeah, it's already 45 minutes, is because it was a free flowing, easy conversation that I think he was even enjoying somewhat. So that part was nice. And then I guess the other thing I'd get to is, I think Jeff Sims, for his first time sort of being out front as QB1 for Nebraska, he's very confident in how this system fits his skill set. He thinks the completion percentage is going to climb, and he likes the throws that this system allows him to make, and thinks it's going to kind of accentuate what he does best. So he's a guy who's feeling, I think, pretty good about where things are tracking with Marcus Fields' offense and how it suits him.
We'll circle back to Nebraska, but what did you learn from a non-Nebraska school at Media Days this week?
Well, I wish I had a better answer. I get so locked into, we're covering Nebraska, so it's very Nebraska centric. I honestly don't hear a lot of what else is said. I thought, I'll go this route though. I thought maybe there would be a few news headlines with the story that came out about, Fleck at Minnesota the day before. I didn't really, I'm not going to go deep into it, but I didn't think it was the best reported story I ever saw. I thought Fleck, whether you like him or not, he kind of maneuvered through what was an awkward situation. I thought that part was sort of interesting. I think he tried to do his best to kind of move past that and not let that become a distraction that filters into their fall camp, which is obviously interesting to Nebraska fans since Minnesota's first on the schedule. So I was kind of paying a little attention to that. And then, Jim Harbaugh, people wondered if there'd be anything about the possible likely 4-game suspension. And he said he can't really talk about it right now and sort of move past it without it becoming a big topic. So those were the 2 things I was kind of on the lookout for. Other than that, it was very much Nebraska was in my lens the entire time.
That makes sense. You had a job to do, and you did it quite well. We commend you for that.
So I don't know about that, but I will have to admit I didn't hear a lot of what other people said.
Well, let's focus on the quarterback, Jeff Sims. It didn't seem like the moment was too big for him. I know it's just media days. It's not really a game or a national media or anything like that, but let's dive deeper into your takeaways from Jeff Sims this week.
Yeah. I think one of the things that was probably impressive about Jeff is he didn't force himself into the leadership component that kind of naturally comes with being the quarterback. He let it, I think, kind of play itself out. But he, behind the scenes, as he told us, was taking care and sort of, learning his team. And he basically said, how am I going to lead guys if I don't really know them, if I'm not listening to what, their stories are and what they're about. And so he spent those first few months, not only learning the offensive system and stuff like that, but figuring out the roster. And it was kind of one of those fun little details that come out at a media days event of him going home at night and scrolling the roster on his phone, and he was memorizing names, basically, putting faces to names. And he wanted to know everybody's name when he walked around the building. And so, I don't know, it's little things like that are, doesn't mean anything. Maybe not when you get to October and it's 3rd down and 7. But I think it's things like Husker fans like to hear this time of year. It's like, okay, this he's putting in the extra work to fit in and to become that leader and kind of do it in his style. And, something Rule said is you've got to let guys lead in their own way. Like, you can't, he described Jeff Sims as a little bit more of a quiet leader, maybe, quieter guy. But he said he's seen him sort of stand out more with that leadership component as the offseason has gone on. Because I think he's feeling more comfortable in that role. And honestly, in the spring, we didn't know for sure that he was the top quarterback for sure. Casey Thompson was still in the program. So the dynamic has changed. And I think with that, it's good to hear Rule said, I think he's a quarterback that players want to play for, that they want to see succeed, and they're going to listen to. So that's some of the positive stuff probably that came out around Jeff Sims.
Bryan Christopherson joining us, Husker 24/7. Let's stop living in the past. Let's look forward. Camp getting set to start. What are you going to be looking for in camp? What is going to be the thing that you're dialed in on most?
Well, I mean, I think there's all sorts of interesting competitions across the board. You could take your guesses at like wide receiver at like, okay, maybe Billy Kemp and Marcus Washington are the veterans to lead that group, but there's sort of an open door for, who's 3 through 6 in that rotation. And, that's a spot you could start at. And then you could go to the other side of the ball. And, the secondary should be a strength of this team. And so you kind of want to see that play itself out. But in camp, there's going to be good position battles there. Where exactly do they want to play Malcolm Hartzog is kind of interesting to me, because obviously we know what he can do at corner, but Tony White left open the idea like he could see some safety work, and he's a guy he can move around. Tommy Hill is a player who sort of, fell off the radar in the middle of last year. He got benched basically and moved to wide receiver. He's back at cornerback, and he's had a really good offseason. And so he might be a guy to really keep an eye on. So the secondary position battles, if you want to call them that, because I think they can rotate more freely back there, are going to be pretty interesting, because there's some veteran guys, who I think got to fight and make sure they've got their spot. Like a Miles Farmer type player who's been around, you got to claim your spot still. So Omar Brown is a guy who's going to be interesting on the back end that I think they like. So that spot you sort of highlighted. And then up front, can they get that rotation that they want, where they feel confident, where you can roll 7 to 9 deep or something like that? That's going to be a big thing, and we won't really know maybe till the games start. But it'll be interesting sort of what names emerge as like second and third team guys on that defensive line, because those guys are going to play snaps if they're in that position.
Brian, Connor's brought this up a few times over the last week or two, and I kind of want to get your take on it. Matt Rule and the coaches, they're not going to hesitate to play younger guys, right?
I don't think so. I mean, we got to be a little careful. Like, Prince Will and Cam Lenhart look really good in the spring, and I suspect they're going to play. I'd be kind of surprised if they don't. However, there were some injuries at the time, and they were going against a pretty thin offensive line back then. So they, I think, took advantage somewhat of that. But those guys, I sort of think, are going to play. And then I think there's going to be 2 to 3 wide receivers who are younger who could see the field. Malachi Coleman keeps coming up as a guy who really sort of got ahead of the curve. And I think, he was coming to almost every practice in the spring, even though he wasn't actually enrolled. He was popping over across town and watching and taking it all in. And it sounds like he's sort of the leader of that group of freshmen. And Jalen Lloyd came up the other day as another guy who's leading those guys. So Matt Rule said in the spring we might need 2 or 3 of those guys to step up. And that's a position where sometimes you can see younger players get on the field. It's a little bit easier maybe than offensive line or defensive line, where you don't always see true freshmen there, which is why, if Cam Lenhart and Prince will play some this year, that's a pretty big deal, because there's not a ton of guys when I've covered it that have played those positions on their first year in campus. So that they'd be in kind of rare company.
Bryan Christopherson, Husker 24/7. We will let you get back to driving. Be safe. Are you driving or is Bruntz driving?
I'm driving, but Bruntz has handled the lion's share of work, and so I owed it to him to take the wheel a little bit here.
Are you the closer?
I think I kind of am the closer. Yeah. I'm at least like the 7th or 8th inning guy trying to get us to the closer. I don't know that I would want to call me the closer. That seems like it's too nice of a title for me.
Well, hey, those 7th and 8th inning guys are more important than ever.
Yeah, they are. So, I mean, sometimes you bring in that guy to get the 2, 3, 4 hitters out, right? I mean, that's the way we're going in baseball now. So let's look at it that way.
Bryan can get a couple guys out, and we appreciate him joining us here today. Bryan, thank you. We'll talk to you next week.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
All right, take care. There's Bryan Christopherson from Husker 24/7, new column out today, as a matter of fact, recapping the madness in Indy. Forgot to ask him about St. Elmo cocktail sauce because he is a sports reporter in Indianapolis, and that's required by law. So the probably during the break, what's going to happen is the sports media police are going to come in here. They're going to write me a citation for not asking that question, but I don't care. I'm a rebel. I do what I want. We'll do the odd news. Step aside, come back. Josh Odson filling in for Connor Happer, leading you into a hot and toasty weekend. We'll do the odd news next.
Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
If there's a snail crawling towards me inside of the Omaha NRG studio, it's not going to be any other snail. That's just the one snail.
But when Nick and I bring a bag full of snails and dump them at your feet.
I'm not working with you two yahoos anymore.
Snail pickup.
I'm not gonna work with you anymore.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly sunny to partly cloudy for your Friday and terribly hot. A high today near 101, but feeling like 117 in Omaha. An excessive heat warning remains in effect throughout eastern Nebraska and western Iowa until 9 o'clock here tonight. Be sure to stay hydrated and take frequent breaks in the shade. A chance of storms this evening, but mainly into tonight. A slight risk for severe weather with 70-mile-per-hour winds and lime-size hail possible. Staying warm with a low of 71. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house.
No better time than now to focus on your garden or landscape. Come shop Lanaha's Garden Center, filled with the area's best quality plants, flowers, and trees. Rooted in quality, unmatched value. Lanahaw Nurseries, 192nd and Center.
If we've learned anything from recent news, it's that unexpected things are happening. Your gut tells you there's something very wrong going on, and all the evidence suggests that there is. Government emails are hacked. There's talk of how to fight World War III, and trade of grains and food are being disrupted. Those in charge say everything's fine. Stop noticing, but you know better. It's time to invest in self-reliance and emergency food storage now, more than ever. My Patriot Supply, the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, is the place you can trust. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contains tasty breakfasts, lunch, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Get at least one food kit for each family member. For a limited time, save 25%, plus get free shipping on all their 3-month emergency food kits. Go to mypatriotsupply.com today. It's time to prepare for what's coming. mypatriotsupply.com.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist. Ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
O'Reilly Auto Parts' new Brake Vest Select Pro brand raises the bar for the best aftermarket domestic brake pads and rotors available. For vehicle-specific friction formulations, Quiet-Tech noise-canceling shims, and stainless steel hardware, choose Brake Vest Select Pro. Professional-grade brakes from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Peerless Energy Systems is Nebraska and Iowa's locally owned and operated authorized solar air compressor distributor. Peerless Energy Systems provides products and solutions for compressed air systems, helping companies in manufacturing, food processing, transportation, auto body repair, car dealers, and more. Driving industry efficiency through service, support, and relationships, let Peerless Energy Systems help you increase efficiency with your compressed air systems today. PeerlessEnergy.com.
Play ball!
Registrations are being accepted until August 13th for Ultimate Baseball Academy's Fall Baseball Leagues. These developmental leagues are going into their 14th season and are the perfect blend of skills clinics, training, and games to help players of all skill levels to improve this fall. Leagues are available for ages 7 through high school. Register as an individual or bring your whole team at UBAnebraska.com.
Ultimate Baseball Academy. Play ball!
Nick Handley here. You know, we are really lucky to have DJ's Dugout here in Omaha. For 30 years, DJ's has always been Omaha's own casual and comfortable iconic sports bar. There's no better place to watch sports and gather with family and friends. Huge media walls, great food and drinks, whatever the season, football, volleyball, basketball, watch the game at DJ's, and DJ's handles large groups too. DJ's Dugout is locally and Vietnam veteran owned. Dig in at the Dugout.
Connor Happer Show. Producer Josh filling in for Connor today. He's back on Monday. I'm just kidding. He's back right now. He's on the phone. He is safely in Omaha. Couple beers in his system. Those are probably filtered out now that he's on his way home. But Connor, welcome to the Connor Happer Show.
Wow, thank you. You're the first person to ever welcome me to my own show. It feels great. I think I just wanted to call in to quell the notion that I do not work on Fridays during the summer. What am I doing right now? Am I working? It's debatable, I suppose, but I figure I'd let my voice be heard. And it was just one beer at the airport with Gary and I at about 8:30 this morning at the lounge in Minneapolis.
Okay, now this is all kind of making sense to me because you sent me a couple texts over the last 24 hours like, hey, if you need me to call in, I can call in. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I did this on Tuesday. Like I've done the 4-hour radio show thing. Like he's really persistent on helping me. I guess I'll take it. It'll be fun. I haven't seen or talked to anyone in this room for a week now. I'm starting to miss his face. I'll let him call. Sure.
Well, I just wanted to make sure you were good.
I'm
it sounds
great.
like you are. If you don't have any questions for me, I can just leave.
No, I do have questions.
Just figured I'd. Okay, great. I just figured I'd say hello. We made it back. The 1620, the zone contingent in Indianapolis has returned. We had to have a plane change in Minneapolis. So I apologize to the folks who were traveling from Minneapolis to Bismarck, North Dakota, because we took your plane, and they directed it to Omaha, and it was a smooth flight in.
I guess, do we have an update on Uncle Steve?
No, we weren't able to confirm anything with Uncle Steve's camp before we got out of town, but we do wish him the best. I feel like, yeah, I mean, we did a lot of talking about Uncle Steve, and maybe even did some laughing at the situation. I hope for all of our sakes that he is okay. I hope that his niece's prophecy was not true.
That's what I kept coming back to the whole time. Every time I heard the story, it was like, this might be it. Why would you tell that to a total stranger?
It's undoubtedly the best line of the entire story. And yeah, I mean, she was like, he's got congestive heart failure. This could be it. So I hope it wasn't it. He seemed like Uncle Steve seemed like he had maybe had a few health issues prior to that, but maybe it was just an episode and he's back up on his feet today. But we don't really know. I did do some looking. Like I checked the Indianapolis scanner accounts, to see if there was anything going on there. No, nothing there. Nothing like the Omaha scanner, of course. So we just don't know. We have no idea on Uncle Steve.
Okay, I guess what was your main takeaway from the whole Big Ten media experience this year? As Alyssa brings me food for the second time in 2 hours.
Look at that. Yes, there's a meeting today, and it's Popcorn Friday as well, so it's double duty today. So at least there's that.
I've only gotten halfway through my popcorn, by the way.
It was good. It was as we expected, Matt Rule was going to do a really good job in that situation. He also, either finished first or runner up in tennis coach in the Big Ten, so that was good for him too. But yeah, I mean, I just get the sense they're ready to get to football, and I like the message. Like he told it to us on the zone, and then he said it. He said it on several other radio stations, but he also said it at the podium as well. Hey man, this year, I don't know what we're going to be like. I don't know how good we're going to be, but we got to earn that respect back. People got to earn it when they play us. And, if they want to beat us, they're going to have to actually beat us instead of us just, rolling over or doing something dumb, in crunch time. That's it. I mean, that's what this offseason has been geared toward. They talk often about, just doing the little things right and, how close, quote unquote, they have been in the past with this very same group. So it's about tweaking a little bit of the mindset and the mentality and making it work for this group. And I think there's a lot to be gained there. I mean, they haven't won very many games with more talent, than the record would show over the last couple of years. So there's a ton to be gained in terms of the win-loss column just with that simple change. And I hope, I think that's probably what they're aiming to do. What does that get them to? I don't know. Does it get them to 6 wins, just right there? Maybe it does. They're going to have a bunch of close games again. So they'll roll the ball out there and see what happens. I do think they like what they have at quarterback. With Sims. Obviously, if Sims goes down, it gets a little hairy. But and we heard continued praise for the offensive line. Even Jeff Sims talked about it with us on yesterday. So I don't think that's fake. If it's team wide, they've certainly heard the narratives, obviously, and I think they want to correct those. But there's a real confidence in that group too. I mean, we asked Sims yesterday, hey, is there a thing or two that surprised you? Say, it's that offensive line group. I think it'd be a surprise. So we'll see how it plays out. And camp hits, and they don't really know yet. And I think there's a lot of figuring out in the next 2 weeks, and that's when the official kind of camp is, and then they'll move into the kind of opponent prep and season prep for it, after middle of August.
Got to turn my mic on. There we go. Stupid producers. People are kind of poking fun at Matt Rule for wanting to get to Lucas Oil first. And they're like, oh my gosh, that so doesn't matter. But I think it does, because if he cares so much about getting there first, how much do you think he's going to care about everybody holding their block on 3rd and 15?
Yeah, I mean, it's one day at a time. That's like his big thing is, how you do anything is how you do everything. So it is quite, it's coach speak, and it's, it sounds like, it's not all that sexy to us, and certainly doesn't make for any outstanding quotes or anything. But hey, let's talk about, instead of talking about, hey, let's get to a bowl game and let's do this and that, and let's win the Big Ten West or whatever it might be, and let's beat Iowa at the end of the season. Let's just win today. Let's just go out and do what we can do today. It was one of the first things we talked about with him yesterday. And I think Gary asked him, he's like, hey, so what would you say to me if I'm a player and I've been around for a couple of years and I want to win, and I come to you and I either want some playing time or I want to win? And his response is, just go out and do really well today and go one day at a time. So it sounds overly simplistic, but I really think that's what they want to create for this program. There's just been a lot of chatter about stuff that doesn't matter, and things like that. So they just want to get back to doing the really basic things right. And this year, inside of the conversation about earning respect back, it's just about building a foundation, and I think that's what they're going to do for the next month, and then it should get better as the season goes along.
Connor Happer of the Connor Happer Show joining us. I'll get you out of here on this. What was your biggest takeaway from a non-Nebraska school the last 2 days?
Oh man, well, I think Minnesota, and PJ just generally being triggered about some reporting that was done on Tuesday was. PJ was in a bit of a different mood than he's usually in. He loves talking about his program. He loves selling his program, and he's happy to do so. But he clearly did not think much of the narrative surrounding it. So there's one. I think Michigan walks in with, on the East. Michigan walked into the building, I think, with a different kind of swagger about them than they have in years past, and I think it sort of flipped with them in Ohio State. Ohio State was always the team. And we talked about it before I left. Like, Ohio State was the team you walked in and they were like, ooh, there's a presence, there's an aura about them. I didn't necessarily get that as much from them. Maybe it's just circumstantial and it's just the way we view what's going on around them. But Michigan felt like they had that to them this year. I am really curious to see now. Michigan is the college football playoff favorite in the Big Ten. Michigan is the favorite in the Big Ten in general. They've beaten Ohio State 2 times in a row now. It's a program that is not quite as hungry because it's eaten a little bit over the last few years. What happens now? How does Michigan do as the team in the catbird seat and Ohio State chasing them a little bit? I'm interested in that. Are they prone for obviously with Harbaugh on the suspension, but their first 4 games are really pretty easy. Then they come to fun. Wisconsin certainly has a different aura about him. Just with Fickle, he brings a much, sleeker, younger feel to that program than it's ever been before. There's confidence there. It's favorite in the West. But yeah, I mean, it was a media days that was not short on storylines that were on and off the field. But I am really glad that we didn't spend the entire 48 hours talking about Northwestern. It was asked of every coach, but they have their own questions to answer, and they have a lot of them, obviously. But it didn't really take over the event like I thought it would. And then we had some breaking news during the thing, as we traditionally do at these media days. Now Pete was sending off Pete tweets, and there was a little Colorado stuff mixed in there as well. So it was good, man. There was a lot of stuff from all around that should keep us busy for at least until football starts in the next month.
Well, camp starts this weekend. I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about Monday morning, Connor.
Indeed, Josh. I will be there. I promise.
Oh, it would just be nice to have another person in this room with me.
I know. Isn't it just great? You just talk. There's just somebody else there.
Yeah.
Just a little safety net.
Yeah.
I'll be your safety net again on Monday.
I appreciate that. Connor Happer of the Connor Happer Show. Have a great weekend. Get in a gas mow.
Goodbye, Josh. Oh yeah, I need that bad. I'm looking at my lawn right now.
Not today. Not today though. It's
we're gonna
dangerous.
try like Sunday or something. Yeah.
Okay. Have a good weekend, sir.
Bye, Josh.
Okay, that's Connor Happer of the Connor Happer Show. He talked to Trev Alberts this week, and if you missed that conversation, we're going to play you a little snippet of that coming up. We'll also have a couple other of the kind of the sort of best segments from Big Ten Media Days. Also some stuff you haven't heard yet from Indianapolis this week. Josh Odson filling in for Connor Happer, who is at home. I can't even say he's on the way back from Big Ten Media Days because he's in his driveway. He's in his house. He's probably going to take a nap before the show's over. That's the kind of effort you get from the talent versus the grunt producer. That's me, Josh Odson, here for you, as always, on 1620 The Zone.
Big names, big games. We've got them all. 1620 The Zone.
How powerful is Cox Fiber? So powerful that one day, your daughter will be able to simulate a soccer match against some of the world's best players right from your backyard. Introducing Cox Fiber. With fiber-fast speeds, it's internet built for tomorrow, today. Limited availability in select areas. Speeds vary and are not guaranteed. Cox terms and other restrictions apply.
Ever walk through a door and see all the trucks? Yeah, it's kind of like that at Gretna Auto Outlet. Half-ton trucks, three-quarter-ton trucks, dualies, gas or diesel. Gretna Auto Outlet will be happy to show it to you. They don't call it truck heaven for nothing, you know. Stop in the climate-controlled comfort of the indoor showroom or online with the virtual showroom at GretnaAuto.com. Gretna Auto Outlet, open Sundays too, just north of Nebraska Crossing on Highway 6 in Gretna.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
It's the most time-honored tradition to start the weekend, grabbing a cold one from a local Nebraska brewery. Let's be real here. It's hot outside, and you don't want to drink the same boring beer as those Hawkeye fans. Drink icy cold, Nebraska-brewed beers, cider, or seltzers instead. Each week, we're putting the spotlight on a unique Nebraska brewery with One Beer Friday. Share your brew on social media with the hashtag One Beer Friday, and you'll be entered to win a $25 gift card to a local Nebraska brewery. Nebraska is the good life with great beer. Click nebraska.beer to learn more.
If your family depends on your income and something happened to you, what would happen to them? You need life insurance, and SelectQuote can help you get it at a price you can afford.
SelectQuote found Jacob, 40, who's in excellent health, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month.
Not in perfect health? Don't worry.
SelectQuote found Tanya, 40, who has type 2 diabetes, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $32 a month.
We shop companies like Protective, Prudential, American General, and others to find you the company with the best rates. Give your family the security they need at a price you can afford.
For your free quote, call 1-800-885-5959. That's 1-800-885-5959. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-885-5959.
SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policies at selectquote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? and you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Back here on the Connor Happer Show, Josh Odson filling in for Connor today. Big thanks to Bryan Munson, Brian Christopherson, and Connor Happer for calling into the show the last few segments. Connor just getting back home after working Big Ten Media Days in Indianapolis the last 2 days. Yesterday was Nebraska Day. The guys were lucky enough to sit down with Nebraska Athletic Director Trev Alberts. It was what I would call a loose conversation. They asked him from everything from an update on the football facility to sort of a more concrete timeline on when Matt Rule secretly visited Lincoln. Gary also completely outed Trev Alberts for storming into a basketball referee's locker room one day. That's how the conversation starts, if that gives you any context. And of course, Connor asked my all sport question, and I thank him very much for doing that. We got an answer about the all sport. We'll talk about that on the tail end of yesterday's conversation between Gary Sharp, Connor Happer, and Nebraska Athletic Director Trev Alberts.
I want to remember you. Trev Alberts is joining us. Hi, Trev. I don't bring it up very often, but kind of early in your athletic director career, do you remember the Omaha-Fort Wayne basketball game at Ralston Arena when you went into the referee's locker room?
Yeah, that's not something I'm real proud of. I try not to. Thanks for bringing that up. I'm still learning how to be an athletic director, but I thought that was the wrong call, Gary.
I was right there with you. I
felt it was important that somebody tell them that was the wrong call.
Well, it happened. It happened, and you let your voice know. By the way, you look great. Welcome. What did they get you for your 2-year anniversary as the athletic director at Nebraska?
It's been 2 years, huh?
Yeah.
No, I haven't gotten anything. I think I got a third year.
But the vibe is different. This has been a good little run, especially on the football side, with Matt Rule. What has Matt Rule meant to the athletic department and Nebraska football in the respect and the vibe in the building and outside the building, in your opinion?
Well, I talked to Matt a little bit during the hiring process about this, and just, obviously all of our sports at the University of Nebraska are really important. We care about them deeply, but, football is just so big, and it's so magnified that the football culture and the way they operate has such an impact on the whole department, not just the other programs, but the administration as well. And, I've watched other coaches go to other places and literally transform, not just a football program or even an athletic department, but transform a whole university in terms of culture. And, so I think just the way Matt and his staff work, Matt's obviously, as you can tell, he's genuine, he's authentic, he enjoys people, and I think that's partly why the fan base has really resonated. Matt's really resonated with them. So I think he's been awesome for our culture. He's been great to work with. Obviously, we haven't played any games yet, and winning will be important. But I just couldn't be more appreciative of what Matt's done. The people he surrounded himself with, passionate, hardworking people, and really looking forward to the season.
Have you been surprised about anything, whether it's Matt Rule related or I guess over the last 9 months now or so? Have you been surprised, or have you taught yourself to not be surprised anymore in the world that we live in?
Yeah, there's you can't be surprised. I mean, the world changes so quickly, and you have to adapt. I think what I've been really pleasantly surprised about is just how willing Matt has been to really embrace all that is Nebraska, and let's be honest, every place is different, Nebraska's not the same. This can be a little overwhelming, I mean, I talked to my colleagues and, I don't know how many years we've been here. I've been here now several, and, our record hasn't been what we'd like it to be. And yet here's all of these Nebraska contingents here, with a team that finished 3-9 last year. I mean, it's different. And I've just been really, really grateful for the way that Matt has embraced it, because it's important to our state, right? And he's done that willingly, and it's been a lot of fun working with him.
Somebody you know very well, Nick Hanley, is back in studio. He's got a question for you as well.
Sure.
Trev, I know how you doing? I know you can't see me, but I can see you. So hopefully that doesn't creep you out.
That's nice. Yeah, he's got cameras.
That's a little creepy.
It was, wasn't it?
That was, yeah. I just want to let you know we can see you. But in all seriousness, in the process to get to Matt Rule, it was well documented, and just kind of getting through that challenge, but always knowing that was your guy. I mean, when you now kind of look back on it, and as Connor mentioned, the amount of months that have now passed, even without a game being played, it's got to still feel pretty rewarding, just the way that we've seen him kind of embrace the little details that it takes, especially during the offseason, of trying to win over those relationships with coaches in the high school area, and just a lot of different things that I know Nebraska fans really appreciate.
Yeah, that's a great point, Nick. It was interesting, and I've said this before. I mean, very early on in the process, it was easier to talk to Matt. Matt had been let go by Carolina, and so there were a number of candidates that you're interested in talking to, but they're still coaching, right? So early on, you could spend some time. And I didn't really know initially what I was going to get with Matt Rule, but it was just fascinating to me. And I left that first conversation saying, either he actually believes all this, or this guy is brilliant and he has studied everything about Nebraska and everything I've ever said. The reality is, it isn't fake, it's genuine. Matt truly does believe in development and all of those little things that I think are really important to our program, and the way you treat people, investing in people, and Nebraska, more than any other state, is a face-to-face state. It's a relationship state, and I think that the person that is the highest profile, most magnified position in the entire state of Nebraska, let's be honest.
Yeah.
If that person embraces it, I think Nick, that's part of the momentum and the confidence that people feel.
Yeah.
Can we do an oral history, by the way, of when you brought him in for the Illinois game last year, and he somehow went under the radar, unseen, the entire weekend, stayed at your house, right, in your basement?
Hey, was that awkward?
Yeah.
Yeah, a guy that may or may not take the job is in the basement of your house.
He's actually upstairs.
Nice of you.
Guest room.
Okay, we're setting the record straight.
We did put it in the nicest room we have. We washed it was great. But no, it was. It was interesting. My wife was actually the real hero who snuck out, and of course you're in the suite, and several people say, "What happened to Angie?" And I said, "I don't know. She must have stepped." And but anyway, it was great to get Matt and Julie, and just like anything else in recruiting, when we got them to Lincoln, got them to Nebraska, got to see, it was a different deal. But yeah, we had to drive in the garage, don't get out of the car until the garage doors closed. Wow. I think he wore a hat and some sunglasses a lot when we were driving around, and it was a little creepy, but it was worthwhile.
It was a perfect weather day too.
It was.
It was like 70 degrees. It was perfect.
It was perfect, and I think there was light wind. So this is how it is here in Lincoln every day. And
update on the football facility?
Going well. It's a massive project. And so Rainwood Development Partners is helping us in the project management. And so we're behind in some areas. What we're really focused on, working with Coach Rule and his staff, is doing what we have to do to ensure that we're not disrupting the team. So if we can't get everything comfortably in prior to the start of camp, which it looks like we're not, we may wait till after camp. So there's a little bit of flexibility there, but it's 315,000 square feet. And so a big effort to try to move everything over.
Hey, I know you're a big picture guy, and you back up projects, the words, what you did at Omaha with Baxter Arena and baseball and softball, and you like those things. And I know there have been a lot of moments in your playing career and your athletic administration career, but let's be honest, Trev, did you ever in the wildest dreams think you could put 90,000 people in a Memorial Stadium for a volleyball match?
No, I didn't. And I mean, when I said earlier, Nebraska's just different. I mean, that's an example, right? I mean, I really wanted that. I'm a little competitive. I really want the attendance record with Nebraska. That was really what it started with. And I thought if we could get 30 to 35,000 people, that would be really something. But in true nature, and I think also having other partners within the state celebrating volleyball, not just Nebraska, helped. But I mean, crazy. We just got the email from our new chancellor, Dr. Bennett, that was sent out to the entire campus community, essentially saying this will be a remote learning day. I mean,
yes,
cool. There's so many people coming, and this is a good experience for us. Like, as we look into the future, not knowing where scheduling is going to go with football, it may not always be played on a Saturday at 2:00. We need to be able to adjust and adapt. And if 90,000 people come to our campus, how do we look at ingress, egress? How do we make sure the fan experience and not disrupt campus? So this will be a great learning experience, but I just can't wait to get to celebrate that with our student athletes and coaches. And we'll continue to think about how we can do some of those types of big event things, because we found that our fans really enjoy that.
I have a weird request. Okay. So a topic on our show has been, you had an endorsement deal with All Sport. Is this correct?
Oh, geez.
Okay.
Oh, you know where this is
That
going.
sounds like a yes to me. Do you have any All Sport? Like or do you have like a cardboard cutout of yourself wearing like an All Sport jersey or something like that? How much All Sport stuff do you have?
I don't think I have any.
Sad.
But I had some shirts, and I'll have to look. I don't know. They're probably in the box.
I think you might be the last person on earth with All Sport stuff.
I did such a great job of pitching it that yeah.
I don't know why I'm obsessed with this.
On that final note, because this is a topic, and you know what your role is as the athletic director, and the people that are into the name, image, likeness on the two entities that you have. Does that keep you up at night?
Well,
I mean, it's not just Nebraska, but everybody else that's in your shoes in this collegiate world. Is that what keeps people up, is what is going on with name, image, likeness year 2?
Well, I don't know if keeping us up. I do think it's generally one of the top 5 topics we're always discussing at AD meetings. I just met prior to coming over here, with one of the lead folks at the NCAA. And the challenge is this, right? Like, nobody's necessarily opposed to anything, but we just want to know what the rules of the game are. Like, if you tell us what the rules are, then it's our job to create a strategy to win within those rules. And the problem is the application of the rules are today different state by state. And so the chief challenge I feel every day, Gary, is this. Like, primarily, and unless somebody, maybe Ted Carter can tell me, no, Trev, that's not your role, but primarily I feel like a significant part of my job is to protect the integrity of what's on my lapel right here. And so that balance of obviously we're here to win, but the reputational risk in this space is real. And how do we find a way, to create a strategy that gives our coaches the best opportunity to be competitively successful, that helps our student athletes monetize their name, image, and likeness? But the reality is, as everybody said, the original intent, the application isn't what's happening today. And it's certain sports are being treated differently than others. So it's a challenge. I'll tell you, I am a little bit encouraged by some of the things, President Baker and the new NCAA. You're starting to see Congress talking about it, right? But the hardest part for me, is the application. There's no consistency in the rules. Different conferences are basically doing different things. States are doing different things. I mean, I never thought in my second year here that I'm working with lawyers. Should we try to amend the state law? Do we opt into a state law? Do we create a state law that basically says the association that we're part of to compete in nationally cannot legally challenge what we're doing in the state of Nebraska? Like, it just seems counterintuitive in terms of what we ought to be doing in college athletics. So we need clarity. We all want it. This is not this conference doesn't, everybody recognizes we need to do something. I think we're making progress.
Hey, great stuff. Thank you for stopping by. I know that your season is about to get ramped up here a little bit, and there's a lot of exciting things on the horizon.
Appreciate what you guys do too.
Let me know if you find any all sports stuff.
I'll have to look.
There's Connor Happer and Gary Sharp yesterday with Nebraska Athletic Director Trev Alberts. We'll go to break here real quick. I did have a take yesterday after hearing that interview that I thought maybe he wasn't being as forthright as he could have been about the all sport. He seemed like, I don't know. This guy knows everything about everything going on at home, in the athletic department, in the state. He knows what people are saying. He knew the question was coming before Connor asked it. So, I mean, he knows what's going on. I think he knows either way. He seemed very, I don't know. I don't care about such things. I think he knows. But we asked the question yesterday on Twitter, did you believe Trev Alberts' answer on all sport? And it ended in a 50-50 tie. I can't ask the question of him again, but I would like a more definitive answer. Maybe BTN can create like a spin-off of MTV Cribs where they go to the houses of Big Ten coaches and athletic directors like Trev Alberts, and he takes us on a tour, and we find out definitively if there is any all-sport memorabilia in the Alberts estate, of which I believe there is some somewhere, whether he knows it or not, quote unquote. When we come back, one of the better interviews from Big Ten Media Days in Indianapolis this week was Gary and Connor sit down with Andy Staples about the state of college football. We'll take a listen to that next on the Connor Happer Show, 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Happy birthday to us. That's right. We're turning 50 this year, and we're celebrating with you. Introducing my new birthday cake streusel, topped with vanilla cake and crunchy streusel, a swirl of white icing, and showered with rainbow sprinkles. Paired with our classic combo, the one that started it all, and your favorite one-topping pizza. Happy birthday feast. Enjoy one today. Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis. It is July, which means the countdown is on for the 6th annual 4-person Golf Flash Scramble. Go to their website today, miraclehillgolf.com/store, and get signed up. You do not want to miss it. Coming up Friday, August the 4th, it'll be a one beer Friday, 12 o'clock shotgun start, only $320 per team. Again, sign up today at that website, miraclehillgolf.com.
Hey, Mike, I heard you had some paint samples on your house.
Yeah, but with all the kids' games, my third grader might be in college by the time I finish.
I almost tackled that project, but decided to call Fremont Roofing Company to come out and install permanent siding so I never have to paint again.
That'd be a game changer.
They did a great job. Plus, they answer the phone every time you call.
Call Fremont Roofing Company at 402-727-9400. We'll transform your exterior while you cheer on the future athletes of Nebraska.
Don't miss the final days of end-of-season deals during the truckload event at Lowe's. Right now, save on major appliances and get an additional 10% off in-store clearance appliances. Plus, you can get up to 35% off select tools and accessories. Find big savings during the final days of the truckload event happening now. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valtrate 2. Exclusions apply while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for details.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be signs that your digestive system isn't working at its best? But taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil supports your daily digestive health using a special plant-based fiber called psyllium. Psyllium works by forming a gel in your digestive system to trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Metamucil's gelling action also helps to promote heart health and slows down sugar absorption to promote healthy blood sugar levels. Start feeling lighter and more energetic by taking Metamucil every day.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Connor Happer and Gary Sharp is here as well. Big Ten Media Days in Chicago, which is I keep saying Chicago because I'm used to Chicago. It is in Indianapolis, and it is brought to you by Fremont Roofing Company and PBJ Welding Supply, and also supported by the Ultimate Baseball Academy. We are joined on site by Andy Staples of On3, and he's. Give us something there. Say something, Andy. Okay. Oh, yeah, we got to turn.
Yeah.
Go on the air, but
there we
go.
go.
There we go. All right, I'm there.
It's live radio, baby.
Yeah.
It's live radio. Now we're kicking.
Hey, how is this? You made a transition. You got into the portal, and you're now with On3, who the Husker site is one of the top On3 sites. What went into this move to move to this medium?
Well, I was already doing a lot of podcasts at The Athletic. I was doing pretty much 4 or 5 shows a week already. And Shannon Terry from On3 called me and said, hey, would you want to just do your show and that be your job? And I said, yeah, absolutely. That'd be great. Because, if you think about it, that there are not a lot of national college football shows. ESPN has College Football Live, but they don't do it as much anymore. You don't see it on ESPN proper very often. And there's just not a lot of places for that where you get coverage of the whole country. And On3 covers college football. It's all they do. Yep. You got the recruiting side of it, you got the NIL piece of it, and you got the folks who are playing the sport right now. And so we're covering all that. And I think it's just a perfect fit because I've been at really good places. I was Sports Illustrated, I was at The Athletic, and all those places, they're trying to cover every sport. Mm-hmm. We're only covering college football.
Yeah. It definitely changes the game a little bit. Speaking of, okay, so we're this is the college football sort of capital today. There's no shortage of storylines.
No,
here. It appears, whether it's Northwestern, Michigan, Minnesota, what's happening there. I mean, we got all sorts of stuff. It's not just on the field, even though that product is pretty intriguing too.
Yeah, it is interesting. The Michigan thing, I'm surprised there hasn't been more chatter about that. I mean, they're going to be here tomorrow. I'm curious to see what Jim Harbaugh says.
Me too.
Because
he could go any direction.
He's a wild card in all this. Like, it's not like Kirk Ferentz. If something like this were going on with Kirk Ferentz, you know exactly what Kirk Ferentz was going to say. You could predict it word for word. That's not going to happen with Jim Harbaugh. He could say nothing. He could say something completely, inflammatory. And it's interesting because my understanding of that situation is when that news leaked yesterday, Harbaugh had not okayed the negotiated settlement, the 4-game suspension. So you kind of wonder, is this the NCAA or even the Michigan administration trying to wish it into existence and getting it out into the world, and that way you can kind of talk everybody down and say, look, it's 4 games, but look at the 4 games it is. You're going to go 4-0 in here. And once you're done with that, you're done with it, and this case is over. And I think that's the thing that Michigan's kind of worried about. This is probably the best team he's had since he's been there.
I agree.
They're coming off 2 consecutive Big Ten titles. They've made the playoff 2 years in a row. Like, they could conceivably do that again. You don't want this hanging over you. And you see how long those cases take if you don't do the negotiated one. So if you're Michigan's administration, I can understand where you'd say, look, let's just get this over with. We don't have to worry about it. We're going to be 4-0 at the end of the Rutgers game. Let's just be done. But if you're Jim Harbaugh and you say, I didn't do anything wrong.
Correct.
You still may want to say that.
The preferred method is to get it out of the way. we just have no idea what Jim Harbaugh is thinking at any point in time. He also doesn't like being told what to do.
That's another great point, because it's almost like if it were his idea, then maybe no big deal. But since it was somebody else's idea, maybe I don't want to do it.
Hey, let's start big picture. What's the health of college football as we sit here in this building that in December will host a championship game of one of the mega?
How much is the Big Ten going to make in TV revenue this year?
A lot.
Very healthy.
A lot of money.
Do not believe these people when they tell you it's dying. They just want things to stay the way they are.
Yeah.
They won't, and they'll get over it. That's what they always do. They always tell us it's going to be a disaster and it's going to go to hell in a handbasket, and they're always laughably wrong. Like, they just keep raking in more money. What's funny about this NIL stuff is the people complaining about the system are the ones making the most money off of it.
Sure,
like,
that is correct.
You keep pushing for these laws, and most of these laws, if a congressional law were to pass, it will be struck down in the courts. And guess what happens next? They'll be made employees.
Yep.
So you keep pushing, and they'll be made employees. Now, they may be made employees anyway. That may be you may be too far along at that point.
Sure,
but you could maybe not have that. So think about this system. Like, if you're Big Ten AD, you're about to pull in $80 million a year from the league. You still got people giving you money to put a new wing on the stadium. You still have all the different corporate sponsorships that you can make money off of. And your players are making money.
Right.
And guess who doesn't have to pay them? You. Someone else is paying them for you.
So the question is, can you have it all? Can you do all of that? Like, Nebraska is about to, undergo a huge construction project in their stadium. They also want to have, the NIL.
Yeah,
component.
I think certain schools can do it. I think Nebraska can do it. Texas A&M can do it. Schools where the passion is just off the charts, they'll always find the money to do whatever they want. I think you're going to find that the stadium stuff, the facility stuff, that's not as important as players.
That's true.
Good players are more important than anything else. But the thing is, if you get good players and you win a bunch of games, everybody gets more excited and gives you more money.
And then you can build a stadium.
Exactly.
Okay, so I've kind of referenced this might be like the last dance for one era of college football, because next year when we're here, the whole landscape from the SEC to the Big Ten is going to look different. Put your crystal ball out there, because you know Nebraska football. Matt Rule comes along. Where in the pecking order from now moving forward in the Big Ten do you see Nebraska, where their place is?
It's a good question. I'm not really sure. I'd like to see what a few years of Matt Rule does for them. I don't think year in, year out Big Ten championship contender is in the cards. I don't think that's necessarily something that you can do, because that's Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State are probably going to block that because they're going to be that. USC can be that. That's another one just adding to the mix that can be that. Wisconsin's trying to be that, and they're ahead of where Nebraska is.
Great.
But I do think good seasons, compete for a Big Ten title every once in a while, make the playoff.
Yeah.
All of that is on the table, because in this league, third place is going to get you in the playoff. There are going to be years in fourth place gets in the playoff. So you have a good season, you will get to go play for the national title. Now, you may get beat in the first round, but you went and played for the national title. And I don't think that's out of Nebraska's reach. I definitely think Nebraska can put together a program that can compete for that kind of spot on a regular basis. They have to be clearly better than they have been. But, if you go back to the Bo Pelini years, some of those years, they would have been in the hunt.
Yep.
So it's not like it's that far off. It's not. I think nationally people think Nebraska fans want 1994, 95, 97 to be back. I think, at least the ones I've dealt with, very reasonable about this. Like, they understand
raise
that's
the
not
floor,
happening.
man.
Yeah.
Raise the floor.
Exactly. And I do think that Matt Rule will absolutely do that.
What was your reaction when he was announced as the hire?
Oh, I thought that was a good hire for them. Because one thing about Matt is he looks at the situation he takes over. He adapts to what he has to adapt to there. Now, the NFL is probably the wrong place for him. He likes to be in control, as most college football coaches do. There are aspects of the NFL you cannot control. the players make more money than you. The owner is, in his case, was a billionaire who's going to do what he wants to do. If you don't have alignment between the coach and GM, personnel and scheme don't necessarily match, you don't have to worry about it in college. And if you look at what he did at Temple and what he did at Baylor, when he got to those places, he said, what do I need to do to succeed here? Who do I need to hire to succeed here? And I think he's done the same thing in Nebraska. Now, what's interesting is he missed a few years of very extreme change in the sport.
Yes. Yep.
So he's a little bit behind his colleagues on dealing with the transfer portal, dealing with NIL. But the thing is that changes so rapidly now. I don't know how behind he really is. All his colleagues are trying to catch up as well.
What is the number, if I were to say blank is the amount of games you should win at Nebraska every year? Is there anything that comes to your head right away?
I would say 8 feels good as an average.
Yeah.
And maybe not even as an average, maybe as that's the low end of average. And you have years sometimes where you go into the double digits.
And I think that's where people are sitting. Like that's where people are like, okay, let's just get us back to that.
I think that's perfectly reasonable. I really do. And then you see what happens after that. And then the other thing about the Big Ten, the ACC, the way they're scheduling now, the SEC, the way they're going to schedule, some years you're going to get a better draw than others.
Oh yeah,
that's a factor you have to consider. Even in the Big 12, where they had the full round robin, it was really weird this year with the 14 teams in the Big 12, and you're like, oh wait, who's got the best schedule? Like, oh, Oklahoma has a way better schedule than everybody else. How'd that happen?
We were looking at like so they released all the schedules for like 24 and 25.
Yeah.
Like Nebraska in 25 has Michigan at Ohio State, at USC, UCLA at home, and then they have like all their formerly known as divisional opponents.
That feels slightly unfair.
Yeah, that's 2025. So that's Matt Rule's third year.
Hey, one other national thing before you got a bunch of other things you got to do. What's 2023 look like in Athens, Georgia, with a spotlight on Kirby Smart, with a great roster? Got to replace Stetson Bennett. Going for 3 in a row, this mega recruiting class they have in 24. But with the offseason that Georgia's had, what does 23 look like in Athens?
They go 12-0, play for the SEC championship, and probably win a third national championship in a row.
And then
if I had to guess.
And then they have add this incredible recruiting class.
Yeah, it's interesting though, because nobody's three-peated in college football since Minnesota in 1936. So the probability says they're not going to. But the fact that, they were going to play Oklahoma as a non-conference game this year, but then when Oklahoma decided to join the league told Georgia, it told Georgia and Oklahoma, you have to drop the series because one game would be non-conference and the other game would be a conference game. So it makes their schedule look pretty bad. And they also didn't really draw much tough from the West.
There's nothing on there.
They play Auburn every year from the West. Auburn's not very good right now because they just fired their coach. So it looks like a pretty easy path to the SEC championship game, and maybe somebody can get them in the regular season. But I struggle to figure out who that would be. Maybe Tennessee and Knoxville, but I don't know. But I do think they're still probably the most talented team. Best offensive line, best overall defense, probably in terms of personnel, guys that are going to the NFL. So it's in a vacuum. If they hadn't won 2 in a row, we wouldn't be saying, oh, it's so hard to win 3 in a row. We'd be saying this is the favorite to win the national title.
By the way, Andy, nice Rose. Is that a shout out to the Rose Bowl?
No, it's a shout out to Ed Ashoff, who former ESPN reporter, and he would wear the rose on the lapel all the time.
Very
and
nice.
Unfortunately, taken from us way too soon. So that's what that's for.
Thanks for stopping by.
Yep,
Andy. Appreciate
no problem.
it.
Hey, that's going to be that is a slam dunk hire by Shannon at On 3. You're gonna kill it over there, and I know a lot of people are looking forward to the continued coverage.
Well, we're having fun, and we had Sean Callahan from Husker Online on the show. Dude, it's up there right now. If you want to go on your podcast platforms after you're done listening to this one.
Thank you.
You are a pro.
You get it.
Thank you.
Listen, I've done terrestrial. I've done Sirius XM. I know how this works. I've been an employee of all those. So
stay here, and then whatever you're going to do afterwards, you go. Hey,
thanks, Andy.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Andy Staples of On 3.
There we go. Connor Happer, Gary Sharp, Big Ten Media Days in Indianapolis. Got to talk to Andy Staples, previewing the sport at large. Connor making it awkward and sad at the end. I should probably write that down as a nominee for most awkward moment. I'm going to produce the show on air here. At the end of the year, in between Christmas and New Year's, we're going to do an award show recapping the best things we did throughout the course of the year. One of the categories will be most awkward moment. And I don't want to brag, but I vomited in a trash can right over there on the air. So I consider myself to be the front runner in that category. But you never know what'll win. We'll put Connor making the Andy Staples interview awkward and sad on the list there. Want to get into a top 5. Haven't had a chance to do one of those over the last couple of days. It is the end of Shark Week. It is the anniversary of the movie Deep Blue Sea coming out. It seems only logical that I give you the top 5 shark movies of all time. We'll do that next. We'll also want to play a little bit of Luke Fickell's Big Ten Media Days stuff yesterday. We didn't play that on the air yesterday, so I want a chance for everyone to hear that because I thought it was actually kind of interesting. He said some things that some of the other coaches seemed like maybe it wasn't their place to say, or maybe they were too afraid to say. Luke Fickell came out with a puffed out chest, and I want to make sure everyone gets a shot to hear that. So we'll do that. Whole bunch of other fun stuff coming up on a Friday. It's the Connor Happer Show. Josh Odson filling in today on 1620 The Zone.
The Connor Happer Show. Follow us on Twitter @Happer Show for all the latest news and views. We may even say something interesting once in a while.
Unlikely.
Really, guys? Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly sunny to partly cloudy for your Friday and terribly hot. A high today near 101, but feeling like 117 in Omaha. An excessive heat warning remains in effect throughout eastern Nebraska and western Iowa until 9 o'clock here tonight. Be sure to stay hydrated and take frequent breaks in the shade. A chance of storms this evening, but mainly into tonight. A slight risk for severe weather with 70-mile-per-hour winds and lime-size hail possible. Staying warm with a low of 71. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Shop Sid Dillon Chevrolet, Nebraska's #1 volume Chevy dealer. Visit any of our 4 locations for your new Chevy or pre-owned vehicle or at SidDillonChevy.com. Chevy, find new roads.
You are what drives us, Sid Dillon.
Let It Fly Sports Bar is your elevated sports bar experience. Located in the Capital District in downtown Omaha, experience Let It Fly's unique brand of hospitality with 2 floors, 2 bars, 2 expansive outdoor patios, and an in-house podcast studio with live broadcasts of the Let It Fly show, hosted by me, Michael Severe, and Josh Jones. Host your next watch party, private event, or date night right here at the Let It Fly Sports Bar. Now open.
Now is the perfect time for Hello Garage to turn your dream garage into a reality. Book a Hello Garage floor coating or storage installation by Labor Day, and you'll save 50% on labor. That's right, save 50% on labor before Labor Day. At Hello Garage, we've created clean, organized spaces for thousands of happy homeowners, and we can do it for you, too. Visit HelloGarage.com today to lock in your savings. That's HelloGarage.com.
Hello, Garage.
Welcome to OmahaWeekendDeals.com, where each weekend we have deals to some of your favorite businesses. This weekend's deal is to Muchachos. Get 2 $25 gift vouchers, a $50 value for just $25. Muchachos was started in Lincoln, now in Omaha on South 13th Street. Muchachos uses new Mexican flavors with smoked barbecue. This flavor sensation is called New Mexican Barbecue Fusion. Come in for slow smoked pork, brisket, chicken, queso, and mac. OmahaWeekendDeals.com now to get yours.
0.05 seconds. That's how long it takes users to form an opinion about a website. If you're unsure that your website meets today's standards, go to jmonline.com and book a call with an expert today. At JM Online, we redesigned our own website last year, a project that has already delivered us a positive ROI. From advanced micro interactions to a beautiful mobile design, check out what we're capable of at jmonline.com.
PACE, Police Athletics for Community Engagement Organization, is dedicated to preventing at-risk and disadvantaged inner-city children from becoming involved in street gangs, crime, drug use, and victimization. Last year, PACE served over 5,000 area kids with wholesome competition and free participation in soccer, baseball, CrossFit, and flag football. To help PACE and local families make sure kids have access to safe and fun spring and summer activities, please go to paceomaha.org to support the PACE mission. Thank you.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres? ¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aww. He just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Vamos a tener mucha diversión.
And that means we're going to have so much fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
$16:20 The Zone. It's the Connor Happer Show. Josh Odson in for Connor today. We are back at full strength here at the Zone on Monday. We thank you for listening to us today. Well, knocking around in the old noggin this morning, I was like, well, got to do a top 5. Haven't done one. Excited to do one. But what should I do? I don't know. Top 5 takeaways from Big Ten Media Days. I don't know that that's necessary. So I started looking around. What kind of anniversaries we got today? Okay. What happened on this day in history? Not finding much. And then I get to the year 1999 and a little movie called Deep Blue Sea was released 24 years ago today, making $165 million at the worldwide box office. It's a movie about sharks. So I said, this weekend is the last days of Shark Week. Deep Blue Sea came out on this day. I guess I kind of have to do top 5 shark movies. And then I said, have I done this before? So I looked up my notes. It's not a comprehensive, complete list of notes, but I could not find any record of me having done this. So I decided, what the hell? Let's do top 5 shark movies, shall we? We begin with number 5.
God, come on. Take forever.
Number 5.
Now, I want to be real clear about this. There's only one good shark movie, and it's the one you're thinking about. There are mediocre shark movies. There are bad shark movies that are somehow watchable. As our good friend Jacob tweets in, this is just going to be a list of 5 Sharknado movies, yes? No. Spoiler alert, not a single Sharknado movie in the top 5. That's probably an upset for a lot of people who know that I enjoy a bad movie. Number 5, I'm going to go with, and this is just kind of by default, really, if I'm being honest with you and myself. It's The Meg from 2018 with Jason Statham. I'm a sucker for a Jason Statham movie because they're either really good or really bad. There is no in between. And either way, that's a win for me. Previously thought to be extinct, a massive creature attacks a deep-sea submersible. We love submersibles, don't we, people? Leaving it disabled and trapping the crew at the bottom of the Pacific. With time running out, a visionary oceanographer recruits rescued diver Jonas Taylor to save the crew and the sea itself from an unimaginable threat, a 75-foot-long prehistoric shark known as the Megalodon. Yep, that's The Meg. There's a sequel coming out next week. Kind of excited about it because if you've seen the trailer, you know there's a dinosaur in that movie. Why is there a dinosaur in that movie? I have no earthly idea, but I'll be the first one in line to see it.
Number 4.
Okay. I'm going to show the work after I announce this. Number 4 is Jaws 4, The Revenge. But Josh, that's a terrible movie. It has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yes, it does. It is in the running with a handful of other films, very short list, of being the single worst movie I've ever seen. Yet I cannot look away. It is a movie that defies not only the logic of planet Earth, like science and plausibility. The laws of physics do not pertain to the movie Jaws, The Revenge, also known as Jaws 4. But the rules of a Jaws movie don't even pretend to be a part of Jaws, The Revenge. The family of widow Ellen Brody has long been plagued by shark attacks, and this unfortunate association continues when her son is the victim of a massive great white. In mourning, Ellen goes to visit her other son, Michael, in the Bahamas, where she meets the charming Hoagie Newcomb, played by Michael Caine. Yes, that Michael Caine. As Ellen and Hoagie begin a relationship, a huge shark appears off the coast of the island, and Ellen's trouble with the great whites begins again. Yes, this movie posits a theory where a shark can swim from Amity, which is in the northeast part of America, to the Bahamas on a vendetta against the Brody family. And that is not even the least plausible thing that happens in this movie. It is horrible, but it is also terrific. And it says here in front of me on Google that you can watch it this weekend on Peacock. So if you've never seen Jaws 4 or Jaws The Revenge, do yourself a favor and watch the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
3. Combination of 3 and 5. Number 3.
Number 3 is Deep Blue Sea. The thing that jump-started this list. You can watch this one on Max. If you haven't heard, HBO Max is now Max. I feel obligated to do that every single time now, kind of like Connor's Matt Rule, where I don't think I need to do it anymore, but I feel if I didn't do it, somebody would do it for me, and then I would feel sad that I didn't get to play a part of it. On an island research facility, Dr. Susan McAllister is harvesting the brain tissue of DNA-altered sharks as a possible cure for Alzheimer's disease. How noble. When the facility's backers send an executive, played by Samuel L. Jackson, to investigate the experiments, a routine procedure goes awry and a shark starts attacking the researchers. Now, with sharks outnumbering their human captors, McAllister and her team must figure out a way to stop them from escaping to the ocean and breeding. This is a movie directed by Rennie Harlan. Rennie Harlan has directed such terrific movies as Cliffhanger, Die Hard 2. What else? Come on, internet. Come on. What else? Oh, a lot of episodes of White Collar. That's not why we're here. Okay, yeah, those are the two. Cliffhanger and Die Hard 2. I thought there was something else, but I must have him confused with someone else. This is on the list for one reason and one reason only. If you've seen Deep Blue Sea, you know the exact reason I'm talking about. And yes, this movie is 24 years old today, and I still don't want to spoil that moment for anyone. So I will not be telling you, if you haven't seen Deep Blue Sea, I recommend you watch it because there is what I would call one of the more shocking on-screen deaths in movie history in this movie.
Here comes 2. Number 2.
The most recent entry on this list is The Shallows. Top 5 shark movies. Number 2, The Shallows. Starring basically Blake Lively, no one else, and a shark. Still reeling from the loss of her mother, medical student Nancy Adams travels to a secluded beach for some much-needed solace. Despite the danger of surfing alone, Nancy decides to soak up the sun and hit the waves. Suddenly, a great white shark attacks, forcing her to swim to a giant rock for safety. Left injured and stranded 200 yards from shore, the frightened young woman must fight for her life as the deadly predator circles her in its feeding ground. This movie is interesting for two reasons. One of them is Blake Lively. The other is Blake Lively is basically standing on a rock for, 60 minutes of this 87-minute movie. That's it. It's just her standing on a rock, looking at the shore that's, just a ways in front of her, going, how can I get from this rock to that shore? And a shark preventing her from doing so. It seems almost too simple to be a movie, but it works. It works. If you haven't seen The Shallows, not a bad movie. And even if you do think it's a bad movie, you get to look at Blake Lively for 87 minutes. It leads us to our number one shark movie. I'm not going to swerve you.
Make it so, number one.
Number one.
It is the original Jaws, 1975. I have a complicated relationship with this movie because I do think it is great, but I also think it is overrated. It is not scary. The shark is fake, but it is an excellent summer blockbuster. It is the movie that coined that term, as I think we're all familiar with. What is the Google plot synopsis for Jaws? Let's read on, shall we? When a young woman is killed by a shark while skinny dipping near the New England tourist town of Amity Island, Police Chief Martin Brody wants to close the beaches, but Mayor Larry Vaughn overrules him, fearing that the loss of tourist revenue will cripple the town. Oh, that's a big word. Ichthyologist Matt Hooper and grizzled ship captain Quint offer to help Brody capture the killer beast, and the trio engage in an epic battle of man versus nature. Terrific movie. Great story. I love that in the last, 5 years or so, memes of the mayor have become very prevalent in our society. It's just something funny that I didn't foresee happening. There's a lot of mayors that act, there's a lot of real life mayors that act like the mayor in Jaws. And to me, that's hilarious and also sad. That's top 5 shark movies. I want to do, in the time we have left, I want to do a little opposition research on some of these other schools from the Big Ten. We focused on a lot of the things that Nebraska did and said and where they're at. I thought Luke Fickell's press conference or his whole spiel up on the stage at Big Ten Media Days was really interesting. He actually said some things. We didn't get a chance to carry it to you yesterday. So I want to play that for you coming back. It's the Connor Happer Show. Josh Odson in for Connor today. Luke Fickell. We'll hear from him next on 1620 The Zone.
For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers, we are 1620 The Zone.
The cigar enthusiasts at Hearth Cigars and Pipes are a pretty diverse bunch of humans. Some enjoy an adult beverage or two, others pass the time with a competitive yet friendly game of dominoes. Still others enjoy shooting some pool downstairs, while more than a few are just satisfied with each other's company. The common thread with all of them is the awesomeness that is their favorite cigar from the humidor. Hearth Cigars and Pipes, just off the 48th Street exit from I-680 at the corner of Mormon Bridge Road in McKinley, and at hearthcigars.com.
Ever walk through a door and see all the trucks? Yeah, it's kind of like that at Gretna Auto Outlet. Half-ton trucks, three-quarter-ton trucks, dualies, gas or diesel. Gretna Auto Outlet will be happy to show it to you. They don't call it truck heaven for nothing, you know. Stop in the climate-controlled comfort of the indoor showroom or online with the virtual showroom at GretnaAuto.com. Gretna Auto Outlet, open Sundays too, just north of Nebraska Crossing on Highway 6 in Gretna.
Watching a ball game at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is pretty awesome. Oscar's offers the MLB package, stage, so your team is always on their upgraded audio-video system, and nothing is better than watching the game with a cold frosty one, Oscar's Pizza, or award-winning char-buffed wings. And with daily lunch and dinner specials, it's really a no-brainer. So get ready to watch your favorite team play ball at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road, and takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Hi, everybody. Kent Pavelka here to talk about your local concrete experts at Everlevel Concrete Repair. Now, if you have cracked or uneven concrete, Everlevel can do it all with their complete repair solutions. They fix cracks, lift sunken slabs, and protect the surface, all at a fraction of the price compared to replacement. And better yet, they offer long-term transferable warranties. I'm so glad I chose Everlevel for my driveway. Give them a call for your free inspection. That's Everlevel, Everlevel, Everlevel. Try saying that 3 times fast.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be signs that your digestive system isn't working at its best? But taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil supports your daily digestive health using a special plant-based fiber called psyllium. Psyllium works by forming a gel in your digestive system to trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Metamucil's gelling action also helps to promote heart health and slows down sugar absorption to promote healthy blood sugar levels. Start feeling lighter and more energetic by taking Metamucil every day.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Kugler Vision. Let us talk about the 3 most surprising things about modern LASIK at Kugler Vision. The first, how fast that LASIK procedure is. With Kugler Vision's leading edge technology, we're talking just a few minutes per eye. Incredibly speedy. And how about this for number 2? How comfortable the procedure is. So often from their patients, they hear, wait, that's it? It's over? They make sure that you're relaxed and comfortable, as well as knowing exactly what is happening. And this for number 3, how quickly you can get back to normal life. Patients typically drive themselves to Kugler Vision the very next day for their follow-up visit. So you're back in action less than 24 hours later. Kugler Vision right now, they have special pre-summer savings on modern LASIK or any of their other advanced vision correction procedures. If you've ever thought about fixing your bad vision, the Kugler Vision Eye Analysis is your first step. Do so today. Schedule one online at kuglervision.com.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone.
Kicking off the 1 o'clock hour here on 1620 The Zone. Connor Happer Show. Josh Odson in for Connor today. I thought what Luke Fickell said at Big Ten Media Days was really interesting. Connor and Gary were doing some other things, so we didn't actually have time to carry it for you. So I wanted you to be able to hear what the new Wisconsin head coach said. I'm not going to go so far as to say he was cocky at the podium, but he was very confident in his team's ability. I thought he said more substantial things than just about any other coach at Big Ten Media Days. So here is Luke Fickell.
It's been, I think, 8 months now. 8 months since I've moved to Madison, and I can tell you that everything involved in what I've done in the last 8 months has exceeded my expectations. And I know I went into it a little bit blind, not knowing all things about Madison and all things about Wisconsin, but I'm talking about from the community, the city, the campus, the actual university. I mean, all those things in the 8 months I've realized and recognized an incredible amount of amazing things that I had no idea about. But I think more than anything over the last 8 months, recognizing and seeing and witnessing the culture of young men that we have within our program by far exceeds anything else that I've learned. And for that, I must give a lot of recognition to those that have come before me, and to kind of just recognize Coach Alvarez, to Coach Bielema, to Coach Leonard, and Coach Christ. The foundation that those guys had laid and had built over time, over the last 20 some years, is really evident, and it's deep rooted. And to them, I owe a lot for what it is that I'm walking into. So for that first month for me, it really was about recognizing and seeing all the things that had gone on over the last 20 some years. So it wasn't like come in that first month and just blow things up and make a splash. As we know, it was the time of bull prep. And I think maybe it was a little bit unique to go in to say, hey, I want to coach and be a part of this bowl preparation and all that's going on. But it was really because I knew there were so many amazing things that had been done before me that I had to recognize. So for that first month, I had to take as much time to figure out, in the way that they've prepared, the way that they've practiced, to the way that they play. I mean, all those things for me in that first month was what it was all about. And then moving forward in the last 7 months, it's all about our ability to embrace what it is that they've done there and what has been laid before us, to recognize the amazing things and to have a way to enhance them, but then also to implement the things that we know it's going to take to continue to move our program in this football team to the next level. And so to me, that's what the last 7 months have been all about. And I can say now we're less than 1 week away from actually putting that to the test, right? We will find out in less than a week, what that trust, love, and respect that we emphasize within our locker room, what it really looks like. How deep rooted is it really when all of a sudden we begin to do what we came here to do, right? Prepare to play for championships. And that's what's exciting for me. That's what's exciting, is to recognize this opportunity that's in front of us, how close it is, and now to put your, culture and things to a test with all the things that come with camp and the season, right? The human elements, the preparation, the playing time, the winning of games. That's when you find out what you really got. So I think I'll just start off by answering a question that I know I've been asked so many times in the last 7 months, and I've already been asked it today. The question that comes down to, hey, define what success looks like in year one, and what are your expectations, right? I mean, it's the pretty common thing. I'll probably take away most questions, right? We have one objective, and that's to play for a championship. I don't think that'll ever change, whether it's year one, year 2, 3, 4, or 5. That's what our objective is. And then I'll tell our guys as we start camp here next week that nobody outside of our team, nobody outside of the walls which the guys that are there every single day that have everything invested will define what success looks like for us. And we cannot allow that. We can't allow fans. We can't allow students. We can't allow former players. We can't allow the media to define what success looks like within our program. But I'll tell you what I think success looks like. Success looks like, to me, when you play your best ball at the end of the year. When you play your best ball at the end of the year, you have an opportunity, and we will have an opportunity to play for a championship. But what is playing your best ball at the end of the year take? What takes an incredible amount of consistency. And in year one, and with new offenses and new there's a lot of things that have to be done. So the consistency, the ability to grow, right? To grow as individuals, to grow as players, to grow as a team, is really critical in how the development will happen. And then our ability to handle adversity, which every one of us know, whether it's the start of camp or the start of the season, you're going to, no matter how your season is going, encounter adversity. That's the beauty of this game. How we handle that, how we have the ability to grow, how we have the ability to come together, the way that which we play in those last month of the season will really help me and our program define what it looks like and what it is as we move forward. So we've got 3 great young players with us here today, representing our program. it's quite unique that we've got a 5th-year guy, we've got a 3rd-year guy, and we've got a 1st-year guy. And they epitomize all things it means to be a Badger. And I say that because even the 1st-year guy has embraced all the things just like I have. So first we have our running back, Braylon Allen, who's in his 3rd year. He's from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. We have Muma John Mehta, who's a 5th-year graduate linebacker for us, who's from Illinois. And then we have Tanner Mordecai, who is obviously a graduate senior from Waco, Texas. 3 great individuals that give a depiction of our entire program. And you'd say a 1st-year guy gives a depiction of your program. Yeah, we've got a lot of 1st-year guys within our program, whether they're players or they're coaches. And I think the uniqueness of those guys and how they've come together really kind of gives a great depiction of our entire program. So I'll open it up for questions.
All right, please get your hands up so we can get the mic to you. Really? No Badger. Oh, here we go. Up here. Sorry.
How did I not know, Tim?
Exactly. Hey, Luke, why Wisconsin? You kind of summed it up a little bit there, but why Wisconsin? Because you had other opportunities, at least reportedly, to go elsewhere. And then number 2, what is the imprint you have made to this point, and what is pickleball all about?
Well, we could take the whole time on why Wisconsin. I probably have said it, but it has a lot to do with being back in the Big Ten. It really does. It has a lot to do with the respect that I have always had playing against and preparing for Wisconsin. Understanding and recognizing what I assumed the culture was like from afar, felt like something that would be really, really in my wheelhouse. And that's why I said that it's exceeded my expectations, just in the way that I believe I fit and we fit in the things that we want to be able to do. But I think there's quite a uniqueness when you put the family involved in it as well. And that has a big part of it. Timing has a lot to do with that, but then the ability for my family, our families, the people that have come with us that, to do what it is they want to do and be able to do it with their own kids as well. And then whatever you want to call fickle, it's not about me. Hopefully we all will understand that. It's about the way we can do things together. And I think what the ball will look like from us is, it doesn't matter whether it's running or throwing the ball. It doesn't matter whether it's 4 wides or packed back in there like maybe the traditional style, whether it's a 3 down or a 4 down. What it looks like is the ability for guys to do things together, the ability to feed off of one another, the ability to ultimately, this is a game about toughness and your ability to be physical up front, your ability to win ball games in the 4th quarter. That has a lot to do with a mentality. That has a lot to do with not just how you play the game, but how you train in the game. So I think all those things together was one of the things from afar that I felt like could fit and be a really good natural fit for me walking in the door. And that's what I said. I've been not pleasantly surprised, but I've been really impressed with all things that I didn't know.
Hey, Luke.
We're going to stay over here to our left.
Jimmy Watkins, Cleveland.com. We haven't seen it yet, but the quarterback that you grabbed from the portal and the offensive coordinator you hired, it seems like you might be changing what has been the philosophy at Wisconsin. Why do that?
Why not? I think to the naked eye, to the normal fan, to the kids on campus, to whoever, I think you're going to see, it's going to look different. There's no doubt, whether it's, 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends, 2 backs in there, that maybe the tradition of what Wisconsin has been and been really successful with, to the ability of being able to spread things out a little bit more. I don't think that it was anything to do with, hey, let's change what it is that they've done and been really good at, and let's bring in somebody that's going to do something different. It's more about people. And obviously I learned that growing up in the Midwest and from a great former coach as well. It's about people. And when you get the right people together, they understand, regardless of who they are labeled to be, whether they're a ground and pound guy, whether they're an air raid guy, what is the core values to the things that you do? And it might look different, but deep down, as you dive into it, it's still going to be about the guys up front. It's still going to be about physicality. It's still going to be about controlling and winning the lines of scrimmage, whether it's offensively or defensively. But the thing that I loved about this opportunity in particular was They never asked about that. It wasn't like, well, what are you going to change, or what aren't you going to change, or this is what. No, it's, we believe in you as a person. We believe in you as a coach, and we believe that you'll do what's best to continue to grow our program and move us forward. And so I give a lot of credit to obviously Chris McIntosh, who believed that, and the people that are around us, that we'll figure out what exactly it will look like as we continue to grow. But the core values won't change.
Okay, and we have one final question here to our left.
Hey, Coach Steve Hellwagon, Bucknuts 24/7. Congrats on
Thanks, Steve.
the Big Ten. My question: you played for John Cooper, Jim Haycock at Ohio State. Worked with Jim Haycock, and then obviously Jim Tressel, Urban Meyer. Just how did all these different coaches impact and mold you, and what have you borrowed maybe from each of them? And to kind of, I mean, you're 20 years into this as a college coach, and a few years now as a head coach. What have you borrowed from all the people that were your influences?
Borrowed, stole, became a part of. They're all those things, and I think that those opportunities, those situations have all shaped me. Like I was very fortunate to be in one place for a very long time, but really be with 3 Hall of Fame coaches, from Coach Coop, who I played for, to Coach Tressel, to Coach Meyer, 3 Hall of Fame coaches that have done it in many different ways. And that's probably the greatest thing that I learned, that there are many different ways to do this. There are many different ways to lead. There are many different ways to win and to grow a program. But it's got to be you. It's got to be authentic, and it's got to be consistent in all those things. And taking things from each and every one of those guys that I was fortunate enough to spend a lot of time with, whether it was 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, and 5 years. I mean, that's a lot of experience. But the 8 or 9 months where I had an opportunity to kind of do things on my own really kind of showed me how important the true leadership behind all that we do is. And the failures that I had, especially in those 8 or 9 months, probably as much as those other times with all those guys, have really helped me be who I am. So I think there's a shape and there's a part of all of it, and it doesn't. You could come and you could see and you could recognize things from all of them, but I think more than anything that it's the ability to be consistent. It's ability to believe in what it is you're doing and be authentic in everything that you're doing.
All right, thank you, Coach. Good luck in your first season.
Appreciate it.
Luke Fickell, new top Badger there in Madison. I loved and also hated at the same time the no gap year, no restart. We're going to hit the ground running. We expect to play for championships. If you're a Wisconsin fan, you love to hear your coach talk like that. If you're a fan of another Big Ten team, maybe you go, oh, hey, whoa, this guy's serious. This guy's for real. They want it all, and they want it now up there in Madison. So, I mean, they were preseason poll predicted to win the division. I think logically, I mean, doing the things they want to do, it's going to take time to kind of turn that ship around into kind of the team Luke Fickell wants it to be. But, I mean, very smart football people are saying, no, Josh, it will not. So we'll see what it looks like at Wisconsin in the fall. But the best interview Connor and Gary did in Indianapolis was not with a Husker. It was not with a national media member. It was their conversation with Michigan's Chris Jenkins, and we're going to play that next for you here on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Email us on the Equitable inbox with whatever is on your mind. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can hit me up, agree, disagree, tell me your thoughts on life at Hanley@1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Let It Fly Sports Bar is now open in the Capital District in downtown Omaha. Let It Fly Sports Bar is excited to introduce you to a unique twist on food, drinks, and sports, while raising the sports bar dining experience with a new high-end design and incredible food. Our 12,000 square foot sports bar includes 2 floors and a live glass enclosed studio featuring the Let It Fly show and 80 TVs. If you want high energy, entertaining environment while dining, Let It Fly Sports Bar is the spot for you. Now open.
Hey folks, is your concrete in need of repair? Kent Pavelka here to talk about your local concrete experts And a Best of Omaha winner, Everlevel Concrete Repair. They can completely restore and repair your concrete at a fraction of the price compared to replacement and offer long-term transferable warranties. I'm so glad I chose Everlevel for my driveway. There's a reason they're a Best of Omaha winner. Give them a call for your free inspection. That's Everlevel, Everlevel, Everlevel. Try saying that 3 times fast.
Happy birthday to us. That's right. We're turning 50 this year, and we're celebrating with you. Introducing my new birthday cake streusel, topped with vanilla cake and crunchy streusel, a swirl of white icing, and showered with rainbow sprinkles. Paired with our classic combo, the one that started it all, and your favorite one-topping pizza. Happy birthday feast. Enjoy one today. Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
All right, welcome back. Connor Happer, Gary Sharp with you from Indianapolis.
What do you think of this music?
I love it. I love it. It's a vibe right here.
It's also non-copyright.
Okay, y'all got good taste. I see.
Only the best here on the Connor Happer Show, and that is the voice of Michigan defensive lineman Chris Jenkins, who joins us now on 1620 The Zone. Chris, good afternoon, man. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm doing great. How are you?
Excellent. I've heard you've had your coffee, so you're ready to roll.
Absolutely. Ready to get started.
Smile on this guy's face.
All
I
right.
love it.
Hey, it's a benefit for us here in Omaha on The Zone that you're going to join us, but it's even more of a benefit for Michigan fans. Simple question. Why'd you come back to Ann Arbor?
I mean, I love it. You know, like I've been saying, like I've always said, this is my family, this is my home. So, you know, coming back to Ann Arbor, you know, there's no better feeling than, you know, being back at home. So, you know, and obviously, you know, my fam wouldn't forgive me if I left without getting my degree. So academics comes first. Okay. So got to get the degree, you know, as a Michigan man, and, you know, got to finish strong.
Hey, you've bulked up.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
So what are we at right now?
So right now we're sitting at a lean, a beautiful 307 pounds.
You carry it well.
Why, thank you. Thank you. Fortunately, I dropped 2. I didn't have a PB and jelly sandwich on the way over here.
Sad. I'm looking at a tweet that you did in May that said, "Not gonna lie, I got beefed."
I did get beefed.
And it says 309 on the scale.
Yeah.
So what were you playing at last year?
Last year I was at 280, 285.
So you got beefed.
Yeah, beefed quick. Yeah, that's the magic.
How'd you do that?
That's
How'd you get beefed?
Oh, that's the magic of our strength and our nutritionist staff. Yeah, they my nutritionist staff got me right. You know, they put me on the right foods and put me on a good diet. You know, our strength coach Herb, and our strength staff, you know, they're monsters. So, you know, they turned all that, you know, beef and fat into, you know, some good hard muscle.
Yeah. Chris Jenkins, defensive tackle for Michigan, joining us. The rest of your crew is considered one of the best in college football, but you are going every day against maybe the best collection of offensive linemen in college football. What's a typical day like, O-line against D-line?
Oh, it's a gritty day. Oh, you're going to get challenged whether you're on the offensive side or you're on the defensive side. And, you know, the biggest thing that we love about it is everybody's, you know, competing. You know, everybody's good, but everybody's, you know, hungry to get better and work on their craft. So, you know, at the end of the day, there may be a little bit of trash talk, but at the end of the day, you know, we're going to work together. You know, we're going to iron sharpens iron, and we're going to work together and, you know, build each other up.
Okay, so what's a Michigan practice look like in general? I there's just an energy that exudes from you guys when you're here, and we know your coach a little bit as well. Like, there's energy all the time. What's a Michigan practice like?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of competitiveness. Like when you got, you know, guys like Nano and Blake and JJ, you know, really hyping us up. And then you got like the coaches like Coach Herb and, you know, Coach Harbaugh, you know, bringing that juice out of us. Oh, it's an electric practice. Oh, yeah. It gets a little hectic.
All right. Give us some insight. We're looking at from the outside of playing at Michigan, playing in the big house. What's it like to run out of the tunnel at Michigan? Not when you're playing Michigan State, because we saw what happened when you get into the tunnel with one of your rivals.
Unfortunately.
But as a Michigan football player, what is it like when you start to come out of the darkness of the tunnel to run onto the field and that banner is in front of you?
There is no better feeling like it. I mean, the amount of butterflies you get in your stomach, you know, you feel the hairs on your arms stand up, you know, your energy's radiating. You hear the crowd screaming while you're going down. There's no better feeling like it. It probably, honestly, only thing I could probably compare it to is probably chugging 3 Red Bulls, you know, before, you know, taking like going out and doing a workout or something like that.
I got another one for you then. Okay, so I've noticed there's also a different energy from the Michigan contingent this year. You guys are confident. You've beaten Ohio State a couple times in a row. Got in the college football playoff a couple times in a row. How do you keep the hunger, even though you've accomplished a lot over the last couple of years?
The biggest thing is eliminating complacency. And, complacency will kill anything. It'll take out anybody. Complacency is the biggest threat. Staying hungry and, working on becoming a better football team every single day and working on getting better at something every single day. That's what we strive to do and put emphasis on. So, not really looking forward, looking back in the past, regarding our success this year based on our success in the past. This year is going to be new. This year is going to be different. We got to become a better football team every single day.
One more for you. Sorry. What's the celebration like? So you guys have celebrated on this field a couple times in a row, but then 1 week before that, when you play Ohio State, compare the celebrations.
Well, both celebrations were amazing. Both feelings were amazing, but in that shoe, man, there's no other feeling like it, man. Especially when you're in a crowded environment like that. Oh yeah, like the shoe, especially over here. There's no better feeling like them. Man. It's really a fog. I can't even tell you fully because it's like you're not even there.
I would imagine you had a little bit more fun in the shoe.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Okay,
yes, sir.
That makes sense.
Hey, you were one of the biggest breakout stars last year. And as I mentioned, you're in the spotlight this year. How does this football program get over the hump? You've been in the playoff. You haven't been able to get that win to get to the next game, the ultimate prize. How does this team get over the hump with the amount of talent that you guys have?
Honestly, just focusing on eliminating complacency and focusing on every single day. You try and focus and put emphasis on not looking too far ahead. You don't want to focus on too far ahead, focus straight on going to the national championship. You got to give respect to each team and focus on each team ahead of you. So, we got to give each team their respect, get better every single day, and, just play our best game of football.
You got a good impression of your head coach?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All right, let's hear it.
Absolutely.
You got an impression of Coach Harbaugh?
Oh yeah. I probably get.
We don't have a hat for you to wear.
I was about to say. I hope you don't hear this, but a quote he said, and I'll give it to y'all. This is a special treat. But sorry, Coach, in advance. But you're gonna go out here. You can be either two plants in life. You can either be the houseplant or the field corn. You can either be comfortable and sitting comfortable like the houseplant, or you can thrive in an environment of adversity like field corn. So which one you want to be? Like I said, I love Coach, but that'd be
those of you who are watching along with us as well, you can see the face as well. You got a camera right here too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Hey, a quick one before we let you go. And Chris Jenkins, defensive tackle for Michigan, is with us, and one of the best personalities in college football. Impressions of Ernest Hausman.
Oh, I don't think I could do.
Not an impression.
No, just what
would you think
like
of him since he's been your teammate?
Excuse me, my apologies. I was about to say I don't know if I could do him, but Ernest, he's been nothing but like an amazing addition to the team. He's been working his butt off ever since he got there. I haven't been upstairs in the film room and haven't seen him there. He's always in the facility, always in the film room and the weight room. Trying to get better at everything, and we love having him. So he's a great guy.
Chris, well, we loved having you, man.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for stopping by.
Absolutely.
Hey, you looking forward to a return trip to Lincoln at the end of September?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so you got the full Thunderstruck treatment at the end of the third quarter last time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Everything painted red?
There was, honestly, not saying we like the color red, but that was definitely an insane experience.
Well, we'll see you again in just a couple months then.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Chris, thanks. Good luck this year and stay healthy, man. And I hope one day you're playing back in this on Sundays.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Appreciate y'all. God bless y'all.
Hey, thank you.
Appreciate it, Chris. Thank you.
It's defensive tackle Chris Jenkins from Michigan. That's fantastic.
He should probably just take the headset with him.
Yeah.
We'll just send him as our reporter the rest of the day.
Yeah, he needs to work for us.
Our producer back in studio would like to hire you. So, yeah. There he goes. If you're watching along with us on YouTube, you can see him dancing around as well. It's fantastic stuff from Chris Jenkins there. I like talking to the Michigan guys every single time they come around. There's a real energy coming off of that program right now. It's very different than what it has been.
I think the guys that they've also selected to come here all have personalities.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if we'll get Blake Corum, but, he definitely has a personality. They kind of they mimic the confidence of their head coach.
I remember I talked to one of their offensive linemen a couple of years ago. He's now in the NFL, Ben Bredesen. And he was like, I'm like, okay, what am I going to talk to this guy about? And he had all these great stories that we sort of bonded over. He had, had just been to the College World Series because Michigan had been to the College World Series. And it was just a great, enlightening conversation. There's a little bit to that. I think Michigan is one of those schools. I think Wisconsin is probably one of those schools as well, where the academic standards are a little bit higher. And those guys are just really enlightening and smart guys. And it was great to
There's
talk
another thing you would think, there's a lot of attention towards Michigan football, is in these environments, to give a little inside baseball to people. Each school brings 3 players, and they bring a host of media relations staff that escort them from TV to newspaper to radio. And I've always found this with Michigan is they do not hover over the interviews. So we have a couple of schools here in the Big Ten that will allow us to interview their student athletes.
That's right.
But there's always somebody from their staff that is standing close by. With the Michigan guys,
They let them go.
and they have more attention on them. We just interviewed Chris Jenkins. Blake Corum is right next to us. The Michigan staffers are nowhere to be found. They're like, we trust these guys. They're not going to say anything. And they just let them talk. And then when it's time to come and move them on to the next interview, they come and they take them to the next one.
There's something to be said for that. That's good. Yeah, that's a good little call right there, because you're right. I mean, they just sort of are around and they let them go. They do their own business and walk away.
Well, and you can tell because and we could say Nebraska as well, but the media, that the staffers from Nebraska, from Keith Mann to Matt Smith, Seamus McKnight as well, they all know us, so they trust us, so they'll walk away when we're interviewing players. Ohio State does the same thing, and I think it's, if you are in a college football program that is covered heavily, they trust you, because you get this every single day. You're in a scrum every single day, compared to some of these other schools that at the end of practice, there might only be 3 or 4 reporters interviewing your coach, not the 25 to 50 that are going to cover Ohio State, Michigan and Nebraska on a daily basis.
They know that they're not going to put their program in a bad spot. And, you never know what idiots like us are going to ask them. We could put them in bad spots sometimes, but they do a really good job of pulling out of that.
Connor Happer, Gary Sharp earlier this week in Indianapolis with Chris Jenkins. I think that was the best interview that they did all week long at Big Ten Media Days. Thanks to Fremont Roofing Company and PB&J Welding Supply for sending the boys out there so we could learn the personality that is Chris Jenkins. Connor called in earlier to the show. You can listen to that on the radio replay. And he talked about the difference between Michigan and Ohio State this year at Big Ten Media Days. Their roles have sort of flipped. Ohio State used to always walk in to Media Days as the favorite, little cocky, lot of swag, and now Michigan has kind of adopted that role. They're the favorite. They're the quote unquote best this, best that in the nation, and now they're the confident ones. They're the cocky ones. They're the ones that are finally allowed to show their personality because they've gotten over the hump. And a lot of them talked about that there's still another hump to get over, and that hump is Georgia. That hump is the playoff, getting to a national championship game, winning a national championship game. And Connor sort of alluded to it, and I think there's something to it where Michigan was hungry, but now they've eaten, and Ohio State is hungry. Could Ohio State eat this year? And with that group of guys who are definitely wanting to get after it after having not beaten Michigan in, I don't know, I don't follow the counter on Twitter. How many days has it been since Ohio State beat Michigan? Is the Buckeyes' turn to eat? I think that'll be an interesting storyline going forward. We continue our opposition research at Big Ten Media Days with a pair of Iowa guys, Connor and Gary, were able to sit down with, good English there, Josh. Cooper DeJean and Luke Lachey. We'll replay Connor and Gary's conversation with them. Next, we'll update the polls. We'll tell you what to watch. We'll have a lot of fun and frivolity here on a Friday afternoon. Connor Happer Show. Josh Odson sitting in on 1620 The Zone.
Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly sunny to partly cloudy for your Friday and terribly hot. A high today near 101, but feeling like 117 in Omaha. An excessive heat warning remains in effect throughout eastern Nebraska and western Iowa until 9 o'clock here tonight. Be sure to stay hydrated and take frequent breaks in the shade. A chance of storms this evening, but mainly into tonight. A slight risk for severe weather with 70-mile-per-hour winds and lime-size hail possible. Staying warm with a low of 71. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
Listen, if you're going to name your company after the single greatest sandwich in the history of, well, history, you better be pretty flippin' good at what you do. Am I right? PB&J Welding Supply of Fremont is pretty flippin' good at what they do. They supply professional welders with all the gear they need to do the job. Welders and plasma cutters to gases and tools. PB&J Welding Supply has them. PB&J Welding Supply, North Broad Street in Fremont, and at pbandjweldingsupply.com.
Email us on the Equitable Bank inbox with whatever's on your mind. Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can get me, Gary, at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone Inbox.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, taillights, trunk lids, license plate holders, 122 million parts. Pull up just a little bit. And headlights. They've got lots of headlights. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be signs that your digestive system isn't working at its best? But taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil supports your daily digestive health using a special plant-based fiber called psyllium. Psyllium works by forming a gel in your digestive system to trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Metamucil's gelling action also helps to promote heart health and slows down sugar absorption to promote healthy blood sugar levels. Start feeling lighter and more energetic by taking Metamucil every day.
If you really crave the true Southern taste of down-home barbecue and soul food, Rib Shack Smokehouse is the place to be. Established in St. Louis and now in Omaha, Rib Shack Smokehouse offers slow-cooked St. Louis ribs, smoked wings, collard greens, and mac and cheese that you can't find anywhere else. Located on the southwest corner of 108th and Q Street and at RibShackSmokehouse.com. Rib Shack Smokehouse is bringing that unique Southern taste back to the Midwest. Call Miss Jackie to cater your graduation, picnic, or special event.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here. Hope to see you at Golf Flash, the 6th straight year we've done so at Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis. Get signed up today by visiting miraclehillgolf.com. Prizes of at least $100 on every single hole. It's miraclehillgolf.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
1620 The Zone, Connor Happer Show. Josh Odson filling in for him today. Real quick before we get out of here, I want to make sure we squeeze this in, doing a little opposition research this hour. We did a little deep dive on Wisconsin with Luke Fickell, previewed Michigan with Chris Jenkins. Now we turn our attention to Iowa and a pair of players that Connor and Gary were lucky enough to talk to earlier this week, Cooper DeJean and Luke Lachey. Let's hear those gentlemen now.
Looks like we might get Luke Lachey, Iowa tight end, here in just a moment or so. Sit down, talk some Iowa Hawkeye football with us as he pops in right now. We're joined by Iowa Hawkeye tight end Luke Lachey.
How's it going?
Here on 1620 The Zone. Luke, great. How are you?
I'm great. I'm excited for the day. It's been a good day.
How's the off season been? Or the off season, I suppose.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Getting to meet a lot of new teammates and building better relationships with the old ones. It's been a lot of fun, and I feel like we're all getting closer.
All right, people want to know what's the difference that kind of different look at the offense, but Cade McNamara has made since he's been there, and what this offense may look different.
Yeah, I just think that Cade's a great player, and I feel like with Brian Ferentz and he's made a lot of great changes in my opinion, and I think that he's just doing a great job. And I think that the big thing about Cade is his confidence. He goes out and he just you kind of just feel something with him almost, and so it's been a really good process with him, and I've really enjoyed it.
How about your position group? I mean, you're next up in line. Obviously, we've seen Luke Lachey on the football field before, but it just goes year by year. Iowa tight end, and you're the guy here this year.
Yeah, it's a really cool thing. I feel like there's so many guys in that position group that have gone on to be very successful, on the field at Iowa and in the NFL. And, it's a cool thing to, one day be a part of, but at the end of the day, I'm just going out there and trying to fill my role the best I can and go and just have fun.
So we could go back all the way to Dallas Clark, George Kittle, on and on and on. And then there is a player from Omaha. You can't say anything. Michael Burt from Omaha Creighton Prep, who is committed to play at Iowa. But what is it in particular about the school and that position that produces guys? Because you're going to have a decision to make. I mean, you got NFL on the horizon as well. But what is it about how the position is taught and how it's played that makes you guys very appealing to the next level?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is that when guys go out there to play, you have to know how to block. And, that's something I'm trying to learn every single day. But they're not going to put you out there if they don't think you're capable out there blocking, because, that's where it starts. We're going to run the ball, and opens up things and we'll pass it. And, it's just something that everyone needs to do.
So are we going to see 2 tight ends? Because you got a new guy that just showed up, more 2 tight end sets.
Yeah. I think we will. That's something, we've always kind of been big on 2 tight end sets, ever since I've been here. And I think that that's something that, it's Iowa's brand. I just don't think that they're ever going to get away from that.
We ask Iowa players about this every year, on the Iowa-Nebraska rivalry. When I say Nebraska, what do you think of?
It just makes me upset, really. I don't know what else to say. I'm sorry, but
it's good. No, it's a good thing.
It is a good thing for the rivalry, but I don't really like to hear it.
So it's a bad taste in your mouth, I assume, how it ended last season.
Yeah, it was. It was not a good.
Can we talk? You don't have to mention what happened at the end, but that was a weird game.
Yeah, it was. I agree. I don't know. I didn't love it.
Now, here's another thing.
His blood's literally boiling right now.
That also probably made you upset. Your offense took a lot of knocks last year. I mean, you're a key part of that offense. You're scoring touchdowns, but you're not putting up big points. What was the reaction as the season went along with the offense and trying to find the right mix, and then kind of tie it back into what you're talking about, the new vibe with Cade and other new guys, of where offense last year to this year on what'll be the general thought about you guys?
Yeah, I feel like there's just a lot of great things that to look forward to for this season. I feel that personally, I felt like at times last year we had a lot of great moments, and that's how I remember it. Really, I try to kind of forget about anything not great, and I'm just trying to focus on this year and taking it as it goes.
You got some dudes on the other side of the ball. What makes, and you go against them every day, what makes the defense so good at Iowa?
I think what makes them so great is the coaches. They put them in the right position to succeed. I can't even tell you how many balls get tipped in practice just by someone making a little mistake that get picked off. Like even in the game, I remember against Minnesota last year, a ball got tipped and landed in Jack Kimball's hands. He'd made a big return for us and a big play that we needed. So I feel like they just put them in the right position to succeed, and then those guys are fully committed to it, and they go out and really do a great job.
How has Iowa football become? I mean, this is the mark of Iowa football is consistency.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to experience it every single day. You may not sort of notice it as you're going through it. How has this program become so consistent?
I just think we focus on doing the little things right every single day. When you get here as a freshman, you have to read a book called The Slight Edge. And that is something that we always it just kind of sticks in your brain after you read it. And so it always emphasizes doing the little things right. And, I think that's what we do.
Great stuff, Luke. Good luck on the upcoming season, and we'll see you in Lincoln at the end of November.
Sounds great. Thank you guys very much.
Iowa tight end. He's the next great one at Iowa at that position. He'll be playing maybe one day in this building. Luke Lachey from Iowa.
Yeah, really good stuff. And we could, and maybe we'll get another Iowa guy here, but we could talk about this Nebraska football or Nebraska-Iowa rivalry 24/7 with these guys. And I love how much they like talking about it. And this is now a super open thing with Nebraska, the folks from Nebraska and the folks from Iowa. It hurts them if they lose the game. It makes their blood boil. They can't stand it the entire offseason. They don't like each other. I mean, I know that we don't need to beat a dead horse because we've been doing this for the last 10 years now. This is a rivalry. I mean, if there was ever any doubt or anything like that, they legitimately don't like each other. It's a full blown deal.
On that note, I heard Urban Meyer, and this is tying back Ryan Day into a discussion. Urban Meyer would tell players at Ohio State for the game against Michigan, and this has been backed up, that he would say to players, you may lose a parent during your time here at Ohio State. And I know what that feeling is like. But there is no feeling that is greater than losing to Michigan.
Oh, my God.
You have to set the tone at the top for how important a game is. Now, the Ohio State-Michigan game is on a completely different level than Iowa-Nebraska actually will ever be. But you have to set the tone of how important that game is, more than just, hey, it's the big game in the standings to go to a bowl game, la-di-da-da. It's just, but it's, and we always think that guys are hesitant to talk about it. No, if you ask the question like you did, they go all in. And because I know, I talk to people. Yeah.
Let's do it.
We'll do Cooper.
And we'll kind of hit pause right there. Love that the Iowa guys aren't shying away from, yes, this is a rivalry. Yes, it hurt like hell when Nebraska beat us last year. So if you want to listen to the rest of that, it is up on the radio replay page at 1620thezone.com. We need to get out of here, but before we do that, we got to update the poll questions and tell you what to watch this weekend at Happer Show. If you want to vote on these polls, both of them come from the crossover most voted on poll of the day. Which age is worse for children, the age 2 or the age of 3? And 2-1, the age 3 is winning. Garnered a lot of controversy there in the mentions, the replies, the comments section. Spirited debate in that one. We move on to the second and final poll question of the day. Do most bad experiences start with an affliction t-shirt? And overwhelmingly, 87% of the audience said yes. Absolutely, bad experiences start with an affliction t-shirt. We turn our attention to what to watch this weekend. Baseball Rangers Padres 8:40 tonight on ESPN Plus. Tigers Marlins 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon on FS1. Yes, the Tigers are playing a day game. Can't believe it. I know. Yankees Orioles 6 o'clock Saturday and Sunday on Big Fox and ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. And finally 11 a.m. Sunday on Peacock, Angels Blue Jays. Sneaky good matchup there. Sneaky important playoff matchup there, as Shohei Ohtani is good. Just breaking news there. Showtime pay-per-view has the fight Saturday night. That would be tomorrow night. Pair of unbeatens looking to unify the weight class. 39-0 Bud Crawford up against 28-0 Errol Spence Jr. If you didn't hear it earlier this week, on Tuesday's show, I was lucky enough to talk with Showtime's Al Bernstein. He'll be calling the fight for Showtime, and great conversation, great preview of Saturday night's fight. Also tonight, after hours, 6 o'clock, they are live in Vegas. They were at the press conference yesterday. They watched Mike Tyson flip that coin. Pretty exciting stuff for Jimmy Allen and the guys of After Hours out in Vegas tonight at 6 o'clock. Non-sports things to watch this weekend. Apple TV has a movie called The Beanie Bubble. Ty Warner, played by Zach Galifianakis, a frustrated toy salesman, collaborates with 3 women, 2 of them played by Elizabeth Banks and Succession's Sarah Snook, to grow his master stroke of an idea into the biggest toy craze in history. That looks interesting, actually, so I might check that out. Peacock has a series debuted yesterday, but we didn't get a chance to talk about it. Twisted Metal, all 10 episodes available now. Yes, based on the video game from back in the day, Twisted Metal. A motor-mouthed outsider is asked to deliver a mysterious package across a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Anthony Mackie stars in that one. Should be a fun weekend. Connor, Gary, everybody's back on Monday. Once again, can't thank Fremont Roofing and PB&J Welding enough for sending the guys out to Indianapolis this week, also supported by Ultimate Baseball Academy. Our thanks to them for helping us put Big Ten Media Days front and center this week. Great job by all. I am out for the weekend. Well, not quite, because the crossover is next.
Live from the host